By the way, Wallach tomorrow, 8:38, he has filed a brief before the Supreme Court about the Florida Gaming Compact.
Wow.
I know. He filed it like Monday or yesterday, and I immediately reached out to him, and while we were sleeping, he said, I can do 8:38 Thursday. So
Awesome. Now, is he asked to do that? Did he do that on his own?
no, I think he did it on his own. He did it on his own, at least based on what I've read. But it's, part of why I wanted to get him on. He'll basically, I think, interview himself for the 15 minutes, but it's based off of comments that Kavanaugh, I think, made based on something that was before them a few months ago.
All right. Morning, everyone. 3 for 3 last night. Thank you very much.
My goodness.
Red hot.
How about Missouri coming back late?
That was awesome.
Down 13 with 3 minutes to go and did all the scoring the rest of the way.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. There is a bounce in our step this morning. We went 3-0 yesterday. Hope you are having a good week as well. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Morning there, Moneybags.
Good morning, David. Nice night last night. Little college hoop. Thank goodness our bets paid off because my alma mater stunk.
Oh, my goodness.
So I was fired up to watch Creighton win.
Where'd you go to school? My alma mater stunk too.
I'm not even mentioning them today. I won't even bring them up. Not worth talking about.
Wow. Home loss to Iowa hurts that much, huh?
Yeah, I don't like losing to Iowa. That's one of those. I have a lot of friends from Iowa. I take more grief from Iowa losses than I do just about any other loss in the conference. And so to be down 20 at home against Fran McCaffrey's Iowa Hawkeyes was a little much for me.
Well, Fran's such a mild-mannered guy. He's so likable. So I could see why, it'd bother you. Okay, losing to such a nice, calm individual. But, yep, we combined. Last night, Mark, see, you're the cook. On the show, you're the cook. Okay, we didn't go with just our normal recipe. Last night, it was a little bit of a jambalaya, but it all made sense. There was one game out there that fit our criteria. 5th-ranked Tennessee on the road against unranked Missouri. Missouri, in fact, winless in the SEC, was getting 11.5 at home. We're like, that's our criteria right there. Got to bet that. Yeah, Tennessee won by 5. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, now there was another one on paper. Looked as if it fit our criteria, but actually it didn't. You had the ranked team going on the road, San Diego State, to visit Utah State. Except in this case, Utah State was actually a 2.5-point favorite. Well, we think they're going to win. So you know what? We're going with it. We're taking the unranked team at home, even though we have to lay 2.5. They won by 5. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Now, then, that was the Miller and Bally part of the equation. Then the dangerous part of the trifecta, the Moulton part of the equation. I'm a trend guy. Mark, not so much.
But even though this was a trend, it still, in essence, fit our criteria.
Somewhat. Top-ranked UConn on the road, but they're facing a ranked team, albeit an underdog, in Creighton. Now, depending on where you place the bet. 2.5, 3, 3.5 is what Creighton was getting. But here was the caveat. UConn had not beat a ranked team on the road in 10 years. That's a trend. Like 20-something consecutive losses on the road to ranked teams. Got to play it. Got to play it. Creighton took UConn to the woodshed last night. Holy mackerel. Won by 19. Ring the bell, baby.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. And Miller and Moulton go 3-0 last night.
Huh?
So, yes, there's a little bounce to our step. Not to mention, we have 2 NFL guests on the show today. A little more bounce to our step.
Right. Daniel Wallach's joining us on the show tomorrow about the Florida Gaming Compact. He's apparently filed a brief before the Supreme Court. What does he not have enough time on his hands? Come on. So we're rocking and rolling, baby. We got it going on. Oh, yeah. And changes to college football. I love sports. I really do. It's the best reality television going. It's so fit. And not only that, we're going to have a poll question today. No, I promise. No, we even wrote it down late yesterday because we didn't have one. We came out of the holiday with nothing.
We might have 2.
Look at that. Does that make up for it then?
Well, that was kind of my thought process because I have an idea for 2. I just need your approval. We'll get it all done during the first commercial break.
You've already got my approval. I want to play catch up. I want to keep our streak going. Just with one
over.
mulligan.
Streak's over. We have
No,
a new one.
No, one mulligan. No. Remember first tee. First show of the week's kind of like a first tee mulligan. I'm okay with first tee mulligans, by the way. Only on the first tee.
If there ever was going to be a mulligan for us, it would be the day after a holiday weekend.
That's fine. But does UConn still have a 14-game winning streak going, or is that done?
Well, it's over.
So their streak's over because they lost.
Yeah,
Did we have a mulligan? Did we have a poll question yesterday?
Well, no.
The streak's over.
Well, no, it's not. We're taking our mulligan.
I don't believe in first-team mulligans.
Well, I do. So Trent breaks
that
the tie.
could be in and of itself a poll question.
It would be a good poll question. First tee mulligans. And that's the only place where I think you're allowed a mulligan. First tee. Are you a nervous guy on the first tee? Because I never was.
Horribly.
Oh, really?
Horribly.
Yeah, I never was. I don't know what it is.
Still hit horrible drives on the first tee. I would love a mulligan on the first tee. Not allowed.
Well, why don't you just in your head say, listen, remember, first tee mulligan, relax. I don't know what it was, man. I used to bang them out on the first tee. I had no problem on the first tee. The other 17 could be problematic. Never had a first tee problem. I played a really good friend in high school, my senior year at a big match. He went to the private school. I went to the public school, and we hated each other. And yet David and I were friends, good friends, played golf all the time, caddied together and what have you. And everybody on both the teams wouldn't talk to one another, give each other the evil eye on the putting green. 2 of us were laughing and joking, which used to get us grief. So anyway, we're playing together. He snap hooks 2 out of bounds on the first tee. It's stroke play. All right. And he's a mess. And nobody from his team's talking to him. I went over. I said, David, relax. Relax. I'll hit. Just relax. I go, you're a little quick at the top. Relax. Okay. A guy played even par golf the rest of the day. It's hitting 5 off the tee, strokes it down the middle, makes an 8 on the first hole, literally plays par golf the rest of the day. I only beat him by 1.
Boy, would your team been a mad.
Oh, they were all over me. All right. The coach, coach was big into like showing up at a hole saying, give me the scorecards. Okay. And I always kept the score.
It's golf.
I know.
A gentlemanly game.
Thank you. He's my buddy. Okay. And he was like, Mark, he was worse than you. He had the sweats on the first tee. He was a mess always. Okay, we'd be playing Monday at the country club that we caddied at. It's caddy's day to play, and he'd make a triple on the first hole. It's like, dude, it's us. We're in shorts and t-shirts. Relax. I'm a believer. Maybe it's because of David Lombardi. I'm a believer in a first team mulligan.
Yeah, well, you've never been big on the rules of golf, so I can't say I'm surprised.
No, I just want to make a couple changes. That's all. It's signing in the designated scoring area. Well, what if I gotta go to the John? Can't I just take the scorecard with me and
Don't sign it then. Sign it when you get back. You don't. I mean, you can go to the John. When you sign the scorecard, you've signed your scorecard.
Please.
It's really easy. 343, 353, 444. Were those right? Yes. Then do that again. It is.
But Mark, here's
the most
problem.
Simple thing in the world.
It can be
because you keep your own score and your opponent keeps your score. It's been done that way. These guys have been doing that since they were 6 years old.
I understand, but Mark,
far away the most simple thing in the world to do.
All right, a very serious question. All right, did you ever play a match in which like you said, I'm keeping my score, and in theory, on the bottom of the card, I'm keeping yours? Did you ever play a match with somebody and at the end they weren't keeping your score? Because I've had that happen in tournament play. Actually, the guy's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry," because they get so wrapped up in their own game that they're not watching.
A million times, David. A million times.
Okay.
And then you grab your card and go, "Okay, let's catch up. Here we go."
Right, but then in theory, since you're useless because you didn't keep my score, it's all dependent on me anyway. Listen, I get it why it was originally in the rules of golf. They didn't have all these volunteers. They didn't have television. They didn't have all these people on the course. I totally get it. Okay, but they knew immediately that he had signed an incorrect scorecard. Why can't they change it?
Now, I have no problem if they want to give him a 2-stroke penalty instead of a DQ. Now,
I think
I've got no issue with that. A DQ is a little harsh.
I think it's
I mean, to just say, "Oh, we made a mistake." No, it's part of the rules of the game. It's different than team sports. It's an individual game.
Except on LIV, Mark. Now they're big into team.
Yeah, whatever.
I know. It would be nice, by the way, if they could name the team something that we could remember. Okay, see, I think it'd be real easy if they called it, wait for it, Team Rom. See, that'd be easy to remember. How about Team Mickelson? Huh. Then you find out, who's on Team Mickelson? Oh, well, it's him and it's Bubba and it's okay.
Or instead of the 6 aces or whatever the hell they call them, I mean, the Mickelson team should be the gamblers.
Exactly. Right. So,
Cam Smith, bad hair. I mean, the
mullets.
Mullets, right.
The mullets, right. We're going to do a name. That'd be like if we were renaming this show instead of Miller and Moulton. All right. What would we call it? 21,000. What would you call the show?
Oh, boy.
The Snark Hour? The Snark Hours, I guess.
I was going to say. See, that's just it. Think about it. So maybe this isn't as easy as we think it is. But, man, what are we going to have? What is this, a Levitard show? We're going to have 6 poll questions? What are we doing here? Should there be mulligans on the first tee? All right. If we renamed the show, what would you call it? Never mind whatever it is, the two of you.
Well, the whole Anthony Rendon.
Right.
Well, how we're going to attack that.
Yeah.
Because we will attack that.
Oh, with gusto. First suggestion, by the way, is chips and dip. Rename the show. I'd like to work some queso in there. I got to be honest with you. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right. Do you want to do the Rendon thing to a sports standpoint, or do you want to relate it to our jobs?
Our jobs. We could just simply ask, how do you feel about your job? Love it? It's okay. And then see, just doing it for the money.
Passionate about it. With David's official spelling.
Yep.
EHHH.
Yep.
Or hate it.
Huh.
All right. Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon says baseball is not his top priority. Is your job, where does your job rank? I mean, there's got to be some context of why we're asking people about their job. If not, it's just if someone jumps on Twitter, they're like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
Instead of where does it rank, I think you should say, how do you feel about your job?
Okay. How do you feel?
Because if we said where does it rank, we'd have to put family, all that stuff.
And it depends on how you feel about your family. But
So how do you feel about your job? Top priority.
Top priority, with David's official spelling.
hate it.
Or hate it, yeah. I think is going to win in a landslide.
Hate my job is going to be a lot higher than you think, people. All right, that's up.
Perfect.
Anybody see the imaginary charge in the Maryland-Wisconsin game last night?
No.
3.5 minutes ago, Maryland's got the ball down 5. Guy splits 2 defenders. All right. The one defender just stands there with his arms up. He goes right by him. The other defender is trying to draw a charge. There's only one problem. The guy with the ball doesn't make any contact with him. So he falls to the ground, and the official buys it and calls it an offensive foul. The guy laid it up and in and literally did not touch either guy and gets called for an offensive foul.
Yeah, that's tough.
Tough.
Ridiculous.
Would have cut it to 3 with 3.5 minutes to go on the road.
Golfers, how do you feel about a first-team mulligan? Always or never? Anything else you want me to get up?
I don't know. What was your other poll question?
It was about just the Rendon from a sports standpoint.
Oh.
Poll question. Did you go 3-0 in your bets last night?
Mhm.
No, we did. Here we go.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope your week, if you had Monday off, got off to a good start yesterday. If you worked on Monday, well, we're getting over the hump today. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So the big story yesterday, I guess, the college football playoff committee making official what we had thought they were going to make official at least one meeting ago. So no longer top 6 conference champions get an automatic spot in the playoff, Mark. It's just 5.
That's quite all right. One of the conferences went away.
Well,
I mean,
round.
Right. They have a commissioner and everything.
I know. They're called the Pac-12. Mark, how many members do they have?
2?
Correct.
2.
And yet they have a commissioner and everything. I don't know. Obviously, they got a plan. They haven't unveiled it yet. They're keeping it to themselves. And Washington State and Oregon State are keeping all the money to themselves. So, they got that going for them, which is nice. So, all right, here's the deal. Top 5 conferences, top 5 conference champions get an automatic spot in the playoffs. The top 4 conference champions, Mark, are seeded 1 through 4. And they get a bye. Top 4 seeds get byes. Notre Dame is eligible for the playoff. They are never to be seeded in the top 4. They can't be a conference champion. So the best that Notre Dame can ever be seeded is 5. Even if they're undefeated and the number 1 team in the country. The best seeding that Notre Dame will ever get is number 5. And then figure it out from there. 5 through 8 get home games. 5 hosts 12, 6, 11, 7, 10, 8, 9. Then after that, we're using the bowls. So the good news for the top 4 seeds, get a bye. Bad news is you don't get the home revenue. That goes to seeds 5 through 8. But Mark, the one thing that I believe this does, which not a lot of people are talking about, I actually think it makes the conference championship games still very important. People are saying, 12-team playoff, and even if it goes to 16, it's just a money grab. Well, think about it, Mark. Like last year, SEC championship game. Georgia, who went in undefeated, number 1 in the country. Alabama. And thought, well, they got to win just to – now, they probably would have been in the 12-team playoff, but Alabama, you think, is like, well, if they win, they'll be a top 4 seed. They'll get a bye. If they lose, are they even going to be good enough to get a home game? Or are they going to be seeded somewhere 9 through 12?
And I think until we go 16, David, and we know eventually it's going to happen. I don't know when. But at some point it goes 16. Until then, much like the NFL playoffs when we had 2 byes, it was really important to get a 1 or a 2 seed. I mean, it proved out most every year 1 or 2 seeds were going to the Super Bowl. So I don't know how you can look at this and not see a huge advantage of being one of the top 4 seeds.
Now, in theory, we'll just stick with the SEC title game from a year ago. Alabama beat Georgia. In theory, best Georgia could then be seeded as 5, right? They would have gone from 1 to 5. Alabama would have been seated somewhere in the top 4. They would have gotten a bye. Now, bear with me here. You know, the 5 seed is not a bad place to be. You get a home game, and you're going to face the worst damn team in the playoff. And it's a very good chance the 5 seed most years is going to face who? Probably the 5th best conference champion, which we're thinking will be an American team, a Sun Belt team, Conference USA, what have you. And then you play the worst Power 4, if you will, conference champion in the semis in a bowl game, in a 4-5 matchup, which will likely be the ACC or Big 12, really. I mean, right now, if you had to bet who would be the 4 seed most years going forward, it'd be the Big 12 champion, right?
Yes.
As long as Florida State and Clemson are still in the ACC.
Clemson, right.
And so if you are the 5 seed, whether it's Notre Dame, last year that team probably would have been Georgia, you get a home game, and an easy game at that, and then, hell, you'll be favored in the neutral site bowl game, remember. You're not going on the road. You're playing a bowl game somewhere. Well, hell, Mark, a little thing we should keep in the back of our minds. How many times the 5 seeds favored over the 4 going the first couple years? And this, by the way, is only a 2-year deal. Because right now we only have signed contracts for 2 college football seasons. You know, that report a week ago about ESPN and the $1.3 billion a year, yeah, that's not true. A couple of the commissioners are like, yeah, we haven't even seen any of the paperwork of what it is you're reporting to be reality. So that may be true, but I haven't even seen the paperwork, never mind signed it. And that's to begin the 2026 season, and then for however many years, in theory, 6. So right now, this is just for 2 years. We're at 12, 5 and 7, 5 conference champions, 7 at-larges. And this is our format for 2 years. Mark, I'm willing to go so far as to say, I think we could be at 16 as early as 2026.
I can't argue a word you're saying, because let me ask you this, David. More or less likely to go to 16 if that deal with ESPN's done. See, that means it stays. If that ESPN deal stays the same, then we have a done deal.
Yes, I think less likely, because in theory, ESPN would have to pay for 4 more games, and that the committee would go, well, no, we agreed on $1.3 billion for 11 games. If they're going to be 15 games, we need more money. So no, if that deal's actually in place, I think we're going to get locked in at 12 through 2031. But if that deal actually falls apart, or the reports were just flat false, then, because that's how you start bringing the other networks in, a streaming service. Fox wants in. Oh, Fox really wants in. But see, you and I are of the belief they'll do this for a couple of years, and we think the top 4 seeds are going to complain when they realize that, you know, like Alabama, we'll go last year again. Alabama beats Georgia. Good news is you're top 4 seed, you get the bye. The bad news is your president and AD are like, I'm sorry, how much did Georgia make on that playoff game? They made $8 million, huh? Because we beat them and they make $8 million and they play the worst damn team in the playoff? Huh.
How about we play the worst damn team in the playoff as the 1 seed at home in Tuscaloosa? Because that makes more sense to us.
Right. How about if we're the 3 seed? How about if we play number 14?
And look, just think about who the top 4 seeds are going to be.
Right.
Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama.
Right. LSU, Texas, you know. Hope I don't know. Will ESPN allow Florida State to be one of the top 4 seeds?
I don't believe so.
I cracked myself up. So there you go. That was the big news yesterday, Mark. 5-7. Oh, we're doing this. That's what they said yesterday. Oh, we're doing this.
One of the least anticipated moves in college football history. We saw this coming the moment the Pac-12 disappeared and disintegrated into the Pac-2.
Mm-hmm. There's a joke that I saw yesterday that Washington State and Oregon State, they were holding out agreeing to this until they could agree to get like some of their memorabilia sold at the concession stands. No? Too soon?
Miller and Moulton, brought to you today by the Pac-12. Shrinking as quickly as humanly possible. The starting 5 is next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I will say the one group I used to play in, I like their mulligan rule the best. Is that if you take a mulligan, you have to play. If you hit a ball and you grab the breakfast ball, you have to play it.
Totally. Totally agree with that. No. You can't just decide which shot you like better. No.
Yeah, you can't hit a little flare hook
No.
180 yards off the left side and say, I'm
No.
going to re-tee one and snap one and say,
No.
no, I'll play the first one.
No. This is let's make a deal. We can give you what's behind door number 1, or you can take door 2. You've already seen what's behind door number 1. And the stuff's okay. And you know what's behind door number 2. It's either a car or rice-a-roni. I liked Let's Make a Deal.
It's on still.
I know.
Mom watches it every day.
Wayne Brady, right?
If you say so.
The host of that?
Is that his name?
I think so.
By the way, I think it's tonight. I got to check. I got to check the scores. I got to check the score thing. But I believe it's either tonight or tomorrow. USF's on the road. Yeah, tonight they're on the road. UTSA laying 5.5.
Wait, UTSA getting 5.5?
Yeah.
At home?
At home.
South Florida not ranked though.
No. I know. I would like
on criteria.
I just think it's tough for them to have. It's going to be tough for them to have another good game.
The letdown. So do we bet the letdown?
Now, if they would have won by 25, I'd feel better about the letdown.
Well,
because
yeah,
he had a lot to coach. They tried to choke that like a hairy dog.
Yeah, they did. RCB, I think all of us don't want one network to control the playoff, but ESPN has an exclusive window to negotiate, and the playoff committee is like, well, if you give us this much money, you can have it. And reportedly, they're willing to write the check.
So we've got, I think, 5 games that hit our criteria tonight.
And one of them is Duke at Miami. Uh-oh.
Duke at Miami, Illinois at Penn State, Dayton at George Mason.
Illinois has been playing well. So is Dayton.
Kentucky at LSU. Colorado State's at New Mexico, but New Mexico's a 7.5-point favorite.
That's a lot.
That bottom end Mountain West team, New Mexico, Colorado State, every time they get ranked, they get beat.
They're talking about 6 from the Mountain West. I don't even think the ACC is going to get that many.
The Big Ten might not either. I'm telling you, Mountain West, Big East. Let's go, baby. You want to watch college hoops? That's where it's at.
I'm with you. And throw in some Big 12. Except Houston. They are not fun to watch. That's mud wrestling. It really is. They're good, but geez, it's not entertaining. There's a team from the Southland that's in the top 60 in all the rank, and
Here we go.
Whatever.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan in an hour. He couldn't make yesterday, his normal day. We said, well, we'll talk to you Friday. He called up and said, no, there's a lot to talk about. I'm coming on Wednesday. Okay.
All right. Can't wait to hear what he wants to talk about.
Right. So Pat Kirwan in an hour, then Seth Everett, and then Matt Cannata, the guy who runs Pro Football Network. He joined us to kick off the season. Now he's going to join us, I guess, to kick off the off season. Matt Cannata, our old buddy. He's joining us 2 hours from now. We got a good-looking show. Daniel Wallach about the Florida Gaming Compact. He's filed a brief before the Supreme Court. He's going to join us tomorrow. We're going to ask him, what do you have, too much free time on your hands?
He filed a brief, and I wear boxer briefs. That's as close as I've come to filing a brief, David.
Right. Exactly. Daniel, congratulations. You filed the brief. We've warned them. Okay, how you doing? 21,000's our text line. We're asking you, if you were to rename the show, what would you call it?
That is so dangerous, David.
Very dangerous. It doesn't mean we have to read it on the air, but we are just curious of the responses. How did we get on that? Renaming it? Was it
Pac-12?
Right, the Pac-12, right. And they're still calling themselves the Pac-12, even though they only have 2. Right?
David, you won't know the names when I say them, but I do love this. Statler and Waldorf. Those are the 2 old guys from the Muppets. We
Nice.
do resemble them.
You guys are up in the corner.
Yep. Just chirping at everybody.
That's a good one.
The young guy liked that one. That show only predates him by 30, 40 years.
Right. So he's basically saying with that laugh, yeah, you 2 resemble that.
Yep.
That's who he's now going to tell everybody who he's working for. Hey, what are you doing? I'm working for Statler and Waldorf. There. What? Yeah, they go by Miller and Moulton. Twitch chat room, Snarky and McRib. Okay. You know, you don't have to just come up with like Miller and Moulton. You could just like call us, the Untouchables or something like that. It doesn't have to be, Snarky and McRib, but whatever. 21,000 Twitch chat room. What would you rename us if essentially we're the Pac-12 and there's only 2?
Someone just put the show in its proper order and said Moulton and Miller. And while I agree with that wholeheartedly, it doesn't sound as good.
No.
We went over this nearly 20 years ago.
See, the 2 L's, you just kind of flow right through. Miller. And you don't want it to start. The T kind of stops you in Moulton. Okay, see, Moulton. It's just already. And then you got it. So it's Miller and Moulton.
Flows better.
Right. Moulton kind of sounds like an ending. It's Miller and Moulton. We're driving, we stop. That's why we did that. All right. 19 before the hour. Time for
The Starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, we were just talking about a college football playoff committee. They officially yesterday changed their format. Top 5 conference champions will get automatic spots in the playoff. Top 4 conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4. So if you don't win your conference, you can't get a first round bye. Notre Dame can never get a first round bye by this format. Seeds 5 through 8 will host home games for the next 2 years. Here's something else, Mark, they're going to begin discussing today. This is going to be serious. This is where things can blow up. Mark, the SEC and the Big Ten, they're not real interested in sharing the money evenly. Reportedly, Petiti and Sankey are going to be like, we're kind of driving the bus for this whole sport. Why shouldn't we get most of the money? And a real bone of contention is going to be let's just say you divvy it up individually. We'll go with what was reported last week, Mark. $1.3 billion a year in the playoff. Okay, you got 12 teams in the playoff and 11 games. So divide 11 into the 1.3 billion. Every game is worth what, 115 million? Every spot in the playoff is worth close to 110 million. You could assign dollars to how much is a spot in the playoff worth, but then also assign dollar amounts per win. Well, the Big Ten and the SEC are like, yeah, so let me get this straight. A Notre Dame who doesn't have to share their money with anybody could be seeded 5th or 6th. A, they'll get a home game. B, likely a first-round win. And wait, so they're going to end up potentially making the playoff, winning 1 or 2 games, and making more money than any other school in the country? No, I don't think so. So that's some of what's going to get discussed today in Dallas. The money. It's real easy to agree on 5 and 7. Now let's break down the money.
And it will be interesting to see where the ACC and Big 12 line is, because you're right. The Big 10 and the SEC are running this bus.
Right.
But they'll need votes.
Or if they see that the votes are not coming their way, do Batiti and Sankey look at one another and go, so you want to just do this ourselves one day? You know, this contract only has 2 years left. We could just, go with what they want. And in 2026, we can negotiate our own deal. What do you say? We'll just invite each, and we'll decide if we want to invite some of these other schools to the party at our discretion. Which playoff do you think the networks are going to bid for? Theirs or ours? I mean, seriously, that's totally left unsaid here. What else have we brought up in the past? This is going to lead to, because this is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to happen. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to make sure they are getting 70% of this playoff money. They're basically going to look at everybody else and go, there wouldn't be a playoff without us. So we're not divvying this up evenly. And then, Mark, by the end of this decade, what's going to happen? The Ohio States and the Michigans and the USCs and the Penn States and the Big Ten are going to look at the Illinois and the Purdues and the Minnesotas and go, listen, we don't want to kick you out, but we ain't sharing this. In the next TV deal, you're going to get paid by appearance. So if you guys aren't any good, here's a base. You get $40 million a year. But, every time you get on national TV, that's worth $2.5 million. So get good or else shut up. I mean, you and I both know that's coming.
And as that's coming, what else is happening? As the good teams are getting all of the money, the mediocre and bad teams are getting none. How are they able to even keep up?
Exactly.
The money will be so great between the haves and the have-nots, it will be next to impossible for a have-not ever to get a seat at the table.
Never mind the have-nots. By then the players may be employees. They may be a union. We may have collective bargaining. There may be a minimum amount of money that the have-nots actually have to spend on the sport. Even if it's baseball and you're the Marlins and the Rays and what Pirates going up against the Dodgers and the Yankees and what have you. So anyway, more voting, more meeting today in Dallas. NFL news, Matthew Slater retired 16 years with the Patriots. Many feel he's the best special teams player of all time. Before Matthew Slater, the thought was Steve Tasker was the best special teams player of all time. Mark, is Steve Tasker in the Hall of Fame?
He is not.
Do you think Matthew Slater will end up in the Hall of Fame? I say yes.
My gut tells me that it's going to be a yes because he's going to have Belichick pulling for him the entire time.
There you go. And how many Super Bowls Steve Tasker win?
Well, 0.
How many Super Bowls Matthew Slater win? 3. Okay, and you're right. Belichick is going to be the one making his 5-minute presentation in front of the room. But Matthew Slater retired yesterday. Lions released safety Tracy Walker. He'd been with them 6 years, 29 years old. Started the season as a starter, and then midway through became a backup. They say $5.5 million by letting him go. He had nothing but good things to say about the city and the organization, the fans. He released a nice statement. Nice of them actually to release him this early. He gets to talk to other teams, get a better deal for himself. Those adults are now charged with murder in the Chiefs' victory parade shooting, along with some other felonies. They're facing the death penalty, by the way, in Missouri. College hoops, top-seeded UConn on the road facing a ranked team. Hadn't won one of those games in 10 years. Yeah, they didn't win last night either. Creighton beat them by 19, 85-66. Tennessee, with 3 minutes to go, they were covering. Not at the buzzer. 5th-ranked Tennessee keeps Missouri winless in the SEC, but they only won by 5. And they were laying 11 and change. UCF a loser at West Virginia. Florida State a winner at home against BC. And we went 3-0 on our bets because we had Utah State at home laying 2.5 against San Diego State. And the 19th ranked San Diego State got beat by 5. So winner, chicken dinner all around for Miller and Moulton, or however you name this show. NHL, Adam Lundell in overtime as the Panthers blew a 2-0 third period lead, but beat Ottawa in OT 3-2. Rangers, Shesterkin with 42 saves. They beat Dallas 3-1. Ovechkin is on a heater.
Yes, he is. 2 last night.
6-2 Washington over Seth's Devils. And the Islanders finally won an overtime game. They beat Pittsburgh 5-4. Remember Robert Reed? The basketball
player.
Right. Houston Rockets.
Right.
Yeah. He died of cancer at the age of 68. He was on both Rockets teams in the 80s who lost to the Celtics in the finals. Good player, 13 years in the league, averaged 11 points a game. Good two-way player. Robert Reed passed away at the age of 68. The Rays signed infielder Ahmed Rosario. It's a good deal. This guy's a starting caliber player in the majors. Not a great player, but an above-average starting infielder, outfielder. They signed him for $1.5 million. He's 28 years old. He's going to be a righty bat in their lineup against left-handed pitching. He can play the outfield. He can play middle infield. That's a good signing. You know, Mark, the Rays do that a lot. You notice that? So last week, the A's hired Jenny Cavnar to be the first woman to be the main play-by-play voice of a Major League Baseball team.
In theory, I mean, it's still the A's.
Right. By name, it's kind of like being in the Pac-12.
Right.
You know, the A's are technically a Major League Baseball team. In reality, By the way, they're thinking Sacramento now is where they're going to play the 3 seasons in between Oakland and Vegas, if they ever get to Vegas. But A's hired Chris Carey to be the number 2 play-by-play voice. If that name sounds familiar, well, his dad is Chip, his grandfather was Skip, and his great-grandfather was Harry. Chris Carey. I'm sure he got the job on merit. I'm sure of it. But he'll be the backup play-by-play voice on A's baseball this season. And finally, Jessica Korda, who hasn't played since May, first because, well, she had a back injury. And then once her back healed, she realized, holy smacks, I'm pregnant. Well, she gave birth yesterday. First child, a son. So she hasn't won in 3 years, but Pride of Bradenton.
But she won yesterday.
You're darn right.
See what I did there?
Yeah, look at you. In fact, an early nominee for Play of the Day. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you go. Pat Kirwan in 45 minutes.
I might go college baseball for Play of the Day. Number 1 team in the nation knocked off last night in a midweek game.
I love Tuesday, Wednesday college baseball. Both teams throwing out number 4 and 5 starters, 6 guys out of the bullpen. Final score often is 11-9. I love midweek college baseball. Miller and Moulton, thanks for joining us.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few Joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, that was a really solid starting five you just had.
Oh, well, thank you.
Covered a lot of ground. By the way, I think Slater should 100% make the Hall of Fame.
Heard Jim Miller, Pat's co-host yesterday, who believes the only reason that Hester made the Hall of Fame is because they're doing away with the kickoffs. And since we don't see kickoff returns anymore, that actually elevates his status. Because
you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense.
He said we will never have a returner as good as Hester again because Hester returned both punts and kicks, and nobody returns kicks anymore. Thought it was interesting.
I inadvertently sent Cannata a link too. And then I looked you at his phone number because he used to come on video. So if he complains, that's me.
Okay.
By the way, I put up the interview with Freddie Weeby yesterday. They got more downloads than all the other hours yesterday.
Okay.
So just for what it's worth.
All right. Probably in future too, should also, if you're going to do an interview, tweet that out with the link to the, not to the Twitch, but tweet it out with the link to that Omni page.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I got to get more involved on Twitter. I just don't want to go over your guys.
No, you have full reign.
But
you're not going to, with Florida Sports Network, trust me.
I think there's a lot more we can do with it.
I agree.
Yeah. And we're going to have to do it going forward.
We will.
And we may have to do it under a different umbrella.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Pat Kirwan in a little more than 30 minutes time. Seth Everett in an hour. Our buddy Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, in a little more than 90 minutes. Kicking around what's going on in the sports world. First off, it's the beginning of the 2-week NFL window, Mark, where teams can tag players if they're so inclined. Last year, remember, running backs got tagged and they became miserable. And they threatened to hold out. In some cases, they did hold out. But in just about every instance, the team threw a few more shekels at them, gave them some incentives that they thought they could reach. And the Josh Jacobs and the Saquon Barkleys and the Ecklers of the world, they all came back in and played. The Vikings, meanwhile, told Cook, we're done with you. We'll see you later. Mark, the thought is this year, the running backs ain't going to get tagged again. That the Raiders, they can't work something out with Jacobs, they're probably not going to tag him. Giants, it looks as if them and Barkley are divorcing. Rumored, by the way, the Chargers, apparently, Jim Harbaugh can't wait to get his hands on him. Don't know. That came out last week. Harbaugh's like, oh, I'd make him the focal point of our offense. Sure, Justin Herbert's like, hello? Have you seen me? Hello?
Yes, I have seen you.
Right.
And we're going to do this thing called run the football.
Yes, we are.
We're going to play action pass.
Yep.
It looks like they're going to get rid of Williams already with the Chargers.
It also does not look like my buddy Mike Evans and the Bucs are going to stay married. That doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's just too much money out there for Mike Evans. In fact, there's concern, can the Bucs just, seal the deal with Baker? Remember, you don't want to tag him because that's way more money than you want to spend. That's how the Giants got in the mess they were in. They were hoping to sign Barkley, all right, tag Jones. Barkley wouldn't sign. They had to give Jones more money than they wanted to and tag Barkley. And the Bucs want to do a deal with Baker and then tag the safety. Keep him in the fold, Winfield. But it looks as if, and if you're Baker, by the way, how interested are you in returning to Tampa with no Mike Evans? Serious, Mark. You're Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on, he's your guy. He's the best player on the field. Best receiver you've ever thrown to.
There's no doubt. All those are true, David. But I don't know. Baker's going to have options. But are they going to be as good as what he has in Tampa?
Well, let me ask you. Minnesota. Atlanta.
Atlanta's really interesting. I mean, Minnesota is too. They do have this Jefferson guy. He's pretty good the last time I checked.
Don't you think the NFC South is attractive to stay in?
Well, New Orleans is paid for Carr, and they're not willing. There's $78 million over the cap. They can't afford to move off Carr.
No. I think what he's saying is just staying with Tampa because of the
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Well,
It's just
okay.
staying with
if
Tampa
you-
because of being in the NFC
If
South.
you look at Minnesota, it's like you get a good receiver, but you're playing against Detroit, Green Bay, and Chicago twice a year.
Yeah, this is about starting and getting paid. I mean that's cute that you're still thinking about winning. That's cute. This is about playing time and getting paid. Winning is like a distant third. This is business.
With Baker, though, I don't.
Yes.
This is playing time and getting paid. This may be the last time Baker has a chance to be a starter and sign a contract and get paid like one.
I mean, he's going to get, let's just say 40.
Which that's not what's being reported. It's less, actually.
Okay, 35.
Well, that's what I thought, because that was the Geno Smith contract. So I thought that's what Baker was going to get. But, apparently teams, they're trying to say the Daniel Jones contract's horrendous. And apparently teams are saying that to the Baker Mayfields of the world, going, we're not paying you Daniel Jones money. No, they're idiots. We're not. So I think the NFL, Mark, is trying to create a middle-class salary structure for quarterbacks.
Okay, but even if it's mid-30s.
Right. Yeah. 3 for 100.
All it takes is one team to break that,
Sure.
and it become 40.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you
$10
this.
million, $15 million over 3 years is enough to make a quarterback move.
Let me ask you this. You're Atlanta. Give up a couple of draft picks for Fields or just give up salary cap room for Baker? Because Fields' rookie contract, you get 2 more years of his rookie deal. Salary cap wise, Fields is, but you're going to have to give up probably 2 twos to get Justin Fields.
No, I know, and that's really tough because Baker had a nice year last year. I mean, I think he could go into Atlanta and improve that team dramatically.
And remember, what was the turning point game for both teams last year? Baker Mayfield leading the Bucs on not 1 but 2 fourth-quarter touchdown drives through the game-winning pass in the final minute. That the Bucs were 4-7, 5-7 actually, I think, when they played that game. And Atlanta was in first place. And that game changed the fortunes of both franchises. So Atlanta literally watched Baker Mayfield ruin their season in their stadium. How do you think they feel about Baker Mayfield?
They should have a very positive feeling towards the way he can play the position.
So,
I think I'd take Fields.
So you think you'd give up the 2 twos for Fields?
I think I would.
Okay. Trent, gut feeling. Just blurt it out. Do you pay the money for Baker if you're Atlanta, or do you give up the 2 twos and save the cap space and go with Fields?
Baker.
Where would you go?
I would go with Baker. Baker's taken 2 teams to the playoffs. Okay, people now, have totally forgotten about his time in Cleveland. I look at his time in Cleveland as a positive. His final year, by the way, he played through a completely busted up left shoulder. He couldn't practice all week. He played games in a harness. Quarterbacks were literally going on TV saying, if you've never played the position, you have no idea how restrictive a harness is. There's a reason he's no longer an accurate quarterback. It's the harness on his left shoulder.
David,
And
not to mention 2020 season, that playoffs, they had the Chiefs on the ropes.
Yeah. No
Literally
doubt.
one play from Chad Henne away from advancing with 2 playoff wins for the Cleveland Browns.
Let me just back to the Bucs here and
Mhm.
Baker and Evans.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't the Bucs franchise Evans?
Well, they can't. They can't. I think my understanding is they can't franchise him. I thought he's I thought that how many years he's been. I thought Mike Evans can't be franchised.
Okay.
So if I'm wrong, I apologize. So I thought because of how they did his contract and what have you that he could, like Kirk Cousins can't be franchised. Okay, the way he did it, they cannot tag Cousins. I thought the same rule applied with Evans. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I thought it was the same thing.
Well, the
And I
rumor
don't-
also is that the Bucks are going to use it on Winfield, I guess.
Well, right. But I thought they couldn't, Evans. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Because I'm reading an
I'll look into
article.
that right now.
I'm reading an article where they're talking about tagging Evans and that it's a
Okay.
cheaper tag than it was what they paid him last year. That his franchise tag number would actually be cheaper than what they paid him last year.
Yeah, it's
Well,
about the
it-
cost of the tag.
What's the tag on a wide receiver then? If they could tag
$20.7 million.
Okay.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
money, but he's worth it.
Yeah.
His cap number last year was 23.7.
Yeah, that's a good point.
By the way, how did the running back franchise tag go up $1.5 million? I don't understand that. The whole league went out of their way last year to reduce the salaries of running backs, and yet the running back tag went up like over $1 million from
The
last year.
economics of that position is such a mess.
But it's just strange. I mean, the tag is the average of the top 5 salaries at the position. I'm guessing certain contracts like McCaffrey's and what have you now
Hunt's
escalating.
contract last year.
Right. So
Barkley's on the franchise tag would have been one of the top ones. So
but
That is odd. That's a very odd occurrence. But you're right, David. I think it's just because that position's top heavy.
take Mike Evans off the Bucks. Tell me through Baker Mayfield's eyes. I mean, there's still, listen, our buddy Roy Cummings has said, hey, the couple of the young wide receivers there can play.
Palmer there can play. And would they draft? I mean, it's a great wide receiver class coming into the game.
Great. Very deep. Correct. But, all right.
So there's a little NFL talk. We'll have plenty of that. Pat Kirwan coming on the show. Matt Cannata coming on the show as well. Seth Everett will join us today. 21,000 is the text line. Couple of poll questions already up there today. Anthony Rendon said baseball is not his top priority. How do you feel about your job? Top priority, 18%. 73%. Hate my job, just 9% of you. Good for you, listeners.
What? I call BS. Only 9% of you hate your job?
Yeah, that makes sense. 1 in 10.
I think is a very reasonable answer for a lot of people that are.
Do you know how miserable people are? And you're saying that your job is only causing 9% of that misery? Really? All the road rage that's out there?
The more I think about it, I side with David, actually. I think a lot of people that are voting meh, I think there's a lot. I think half the people that are voting meh hate their job.
I'll tell you what, it's because they haven't gone into work yet. Go into work in 90 minutes and then do the poll question.
I will say late voting from Broward and Dade could definitely influence this vote, David. You are on to something there. That as the day progresses and people right now, they're up, they're having their coffee, they're catching a little Miller and Moulton going, hey, off to a great start. I followed them on their bets last night. I won some money. Can't wait to go to work. And it all ends. They're going to get in the mess that is traffic wherever they're going this morning and have to take 30 minutes longer to get there than normal.
And our other poll question is, how do you feel about a first-team mulligan? I'm a first-team mulligan guy. Mark's like, hell no. Suck it up. Play it.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I would love to see either Kirk or Baker on the Falcons, and I don't think either's going to happen. I think they're so set up. New coach coming in, great weapons. They just need the quarterback. And credit to you guys. You guys have been on that for months with Atlanta.
Jay Billis on our side said, you can fix this problem. You make athletes employees tomorrow.
You guys ever had him on the show?
No.
Once,
yes.
once.
It was, I think, in conjunction with a sponsorship thing.
Okay. I'm a huge fan of his. Love him. Unless he's calling Duke games. That bothers me no matter who it is. I hate when the alma mater gets to call.
Which is so funny because it's such a bad, Billis gets so much grief from Duke Nation that he says too many nice things about
the opposition.
North Carolina and
Same with Kirk with Ohio State. He'll say congratulations to the Wolverines, and everyone's like, "What are you saying?" But I love Billis. I don't think Billis might be the best college basketball mind in America. I love Billis. John Fanta, number one.
Oh, God, John Fanta's so good.
He's great.
I will say this is one area that I would love this show to get better at is putting clips up on TikTok. But he goes through the airport doing TikTok videos.
Does he really?
And he's you can see him. He's walking through the airport. He's like this.
Let me set the table for
my
you.
4 teams going to the Final Four right now. Of course, it's UConn. And I like Arizona. And then he goes through his 4 teams. That's Fanta's 4. And it's literally, he did one of his day covering. He does play-by-play for PBA bowling. He did a video of his day, of his wife taking him, just little clips. Wife taking 3:30 up. Wife took me to the airport so we can see each other a little bit more. Then it's, got him landing, getting the rental car and showing up for a production meeting. It's pretty well done, put together.
He did a blurb. He did a game at Charleston, I think, Monday night.
Yep.
And he's walking down the steps in the arena, morning shoot around. We got so-and-so against so-and-so tonight. And look who's calling the game with me in the building. And all of a sudden the phone goes, and there's the guy sitting there, midcourt. I love fans. I love people who are that enthusiastic.
Yes.
We know what his answer to the poll question would be.
Oh,
loves
top
his job.
priority.
Yep.
Top priority, baby.
David, do you like Bill Raftery?
Yes.
I love.
I mean, he's more shtick than substance now, but
totally. But it's the perfect.
well, but I've heard a lot of Raft. Like him and Ian Eagle did Nets games for 20 years. Like I've heard a lot of Raft. And also I'm old. I grew up with him, Big Mondays. He would do the 7:00 game. Vital would do the 9:00 game.
He's perfect for that when you have 3 men in the booth because he sprinkles the. I mean, you got like Grant Hill to do the actual analysis, and Bill Raftery's just the. I love it.
Although late, Raft will put his analyst hat back on. Like very late in the game, he will. He'll be a coach again late in the game.
Get the puppies in order.
RCB, if you have a new offensive coordinator that doesn't want to feature a wide receiver like Evans, I don't want to hire that offensive coordinator.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan, a little more than 15 minutes time. Thanks so much for being with us. Seth Everett at the top of the hour. All right. In light of this whole college football playoff committee news, 5 conference champions get automatic bids. The top 5 conference champions. And most people can assume that it will be the Power 4 conference champions and then one other. And the top 4 conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4. The 5th best conference champion, our understanding is not being seeded 5th. In fact, could be seeded 12th, but they get a spot in the playoff. But Mark, just for you-know-what and giggles, this was the AP Top 12 after the conference championship games last year.
Okay.
Because in theory, this is
right
when we're picking them. Michigan, Washington, Texas, Florida State, according to the AP. And obviously that's Big Ten at the time, go with us, Pac-12, Big 12, ACC. Alabama 5, and we assume they would be seeded 5 because they just beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Right?
No, I think they'd be seated ahead of Florida State. I think they would. I think this committee would have done exactly what it did last year.
Well, hold on. If they knew that Florida State,
yeah, they'd get them in the tournament.
I know what you're saying, but I think with this in mind, with the 12-team format in mind, they would.
Well, first off, I'm just going by the AP poll. Okay, I'm not saying what the committee would have done.
Right.
Although, Mark, I will say this is very interesting. Let's do a quick sidebar here. If you're Alabama, do you want to be the 4 or the 5? Get a home game with the 5.
I understand that. And you risk the chance of players getting injured. You want to play less games.
Guess who you get in the second round? You get the 3rd string quarterback there at Florida State.
You get them in the second round if you were the 4th seed too.
I understand, but you lose it. But you lose out on $8 to $10 million. It's a very interesting thing. Where first off, I don't think they play. Put it this way: do you think the politics will be as big going forward? Because it'll be interesting behind the scenes. Well, but I mean, you have to acknowledge what certain schools will value the buy more than the money. Other schools are like, screw that, give me the money. Give me the home game.
You're so right, and I hate that that's where the sport's going. I mean, they're barreling towards this.
Listen, it's your call. You're the president or AD. It's your call. I'm the coach. Okay. Do you want us to be the 4 or the 5? It's your call, Mark.
I would want to be the 4.
Okay.
Every time and play less games.
Okay.
I don't want to take a
Fair
chance.
enough.
Injury, I want to play less games.
Fair enough. Georgia was 6. Ohio State was 7. Oregon was 8. Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. Now,
Oklahoma's probably out then because you've got to add the group of 5 school.
Now, Notre Dame was 15th. SMU was 17th. Those were the 2 outliers that if we're going to take a school out here and put somebody else in, this is just based on the AP poll. But just if we go with what's on paper right now, Michigan, Washington, Texas, Florida State would have had byes if we had had this last year. Bama would have hosted Oklahoma. Georgia would have hosted Ole Miss. Ohio State would have hosted Penn State, and Oregon would have hosted Missouri.
Well, you got to throw in a group of, there's still 5 conference champions going.
Okay.
So Oklahoma would be out.
Now, remember last year we had 6 power conferences or 5 power conferences. So, but yeah, fine. Take Oklahoma out. Alabama's hosting either Notre Dame or SMU.
And it would be SMU because they had an automatic bid.
Okay.
And it would be a blowout. Maybe not, but I think so.
So just going by that, Alabama hosts SMU, Georgia hosts Ole Miss, Ohio State hosts Penn State, Oregon hosts Missouri. That's what our first round games would have looked like last year. Now, obviously, this year there's one less conference champion, and but we're also trying to give you a taste of how many Big Ten teams, how many SEC teams are going to be filling out spots, 5 through 12.
I can safely say that Oregon, Ohio State, and I believe Penn State will be in the playoff next year from the Big Ten.
Ohio State's winning the national title. I've already placed that bet. I'm all in.
That'd be great for the sport. The year after Michigan finally wins it, Ohio State takes the throne back.
Yeah, I know. They've done so little winning at Ohio State. Yeah, you're right. The whole sport would be like, oh, thank goodness Ohio State won a national title.
Because everybody seems to have such a soft spot for the Buckeyes.
Exactly.
Right. They're really well liked.
It just, California would be like, oh, good for the Buckeyes. Good for the
SEC
Buckeyes.
country would be, you know what? Upon further reading, I'm so happy for Ohio State.
I am.
For the sport. Not happy, good for the sport.
No, good for the sport would be Wisconsin winning the national title. Showing that someone outside of teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia can actually win a natty.
Ole Miss winning the national title.
Right.
That means Lane.
I love Lane.
And the Grove and the scenery that comes with the Grove. But all right, 28 minutes after the hour, Pat Kirwan in the on deck circle. I don't know where Trent's going here. Mark, you got a gut feeling about where Trent's going for the play of the day?
I think he'd be going to Creighton would be my guess because they knocked off number 1 UConn, but I don't know. Time now for our Molly Maid play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
It was a great night in college hoops, but a Florida team walked it off the ice last night. So we go across Alligator Alley to Sunrise, Florida, where the Panthers are hosting the Senators. Panthers get out to a 2-0 lead going into the third period even. But the Senators make it interesting with a 2-goal third period, and all of a sudden we have overtime, David. And about a minute and a half into overtime, the Panthers took care of business.
Lundell gets by Brady, gets shot, will score! Let's go home, baby! Anton Lundell extends the winning streak to a half dozen.
Lundy, Anton Lindell walks it off. Panthers grab their 37th win of the season. If you're keeping track at home, they've got 78 points, and they are in first place in the Atlantic. More points than every NHL team but the Vancouver Canucks, and they'll try to keep it going tomorrow against the Hurricanes. And there's your Molly Maid play of the day.
They're not just first in the Atlantic, they're first in the East, baby. The team that represented the conference in the finals last year is atop the standings at this point this year.
And that's your Molly Maid play of the day, 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. Call them today and give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
Now, is the Lightning right now the first wild card or the second?
Yes. First.
All right. You know what we need? We need the Panthers to win the division. And we need the Lightning to be the second wild card. We need a Panthers Lightning 1-8 first round playoff series. Let's do this.
Who says no?
Would be fantastic.
And
the young Panthers team that's a little chippier, a little hungrier against the old guard of the Tampa Bay Lightning would make for a great first round matchup.
Florida's never beaten Tampa Bay in the playoffs. They'd be heavy favorites this year. And the Lightning and their 4 Hall of Famers would be looking across at them going, yeah, we're a tough out.
Come on. Come on.
You see that guy in the pipes? That's a Vasilevsky. You don't have one of those.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know
that was funny.
You need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning, Pat.
Morning.
Mark, that was the best when you did your version of starting a fight in the Lightning game. Come on. Oh my God. You know, Trent lights you two up. When it turns to hockey, it's almost like you just need a hockey show because everyone's personalities come out in that moment. That was great.
Did you see the players in the Stadium Series this weekend, Pat, show their personality? The Flyers got dressed up as Rocky.
Yeah.
And the the Devils got dressed up as the Sopranos. Nothing but their sweatsuits. And then when the Devils scored, they did the Tommy DeVito hand gesture. And then the Rangers were transported there on fire trucks, and the Islanders were transported in cop cars.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Everybody up north was talking about it. I wish I was up there, but oh yeah. Trent stirs you two up pretty good.
I try, Pat. I try.
You do. You do a fine job of extracting their personalities. And Mark, the fake fight thing was like, drop your gloves. You know, I wish you had the sound of dropping your gloves and just going and beating the crap out of someone.
Pat, I went to a Grand Rapids Griffins game last Friday night because I was back home, and there was like 4 fights, and it was just awesome because, you know, minor league hockey, you guys know how that is, just a little bit smaller. Everyone's getting rowdy. It was awesome.
Yeah, they demand a fight.
I mean, right? I'm telling you, the first one was like 5 minutes into the first period. It was great.
Yeah, there's a game tonight, so I look very much forward to the fights and some of the great
Wednesday
fights.
night hockey, $2 beers. This is your element.
And you know what's great about where I sit is the Florida Gulf Coast hockey team sits right behind me, and they're the best. They yell shit that nobody else can yell.
I was gonna say it's got to be some good commentary.
Yeah, you got Wednesday night Everblades with $2 beers, and then you got Tuesday night Miracle with $2 beers in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, I might go tonight. That'd be fun.
God, I wish you would. I got my favorites though. First off, they always have the empty cup thing, the big snake.
The snake,
and it's
your snake.
Yeah, and they made it, to national news about a month ago. And
I remember you guys talking about that.
Yeah, and they carried the snake right down over my head. It was great, but they say shit to the players because the seats are right where the opposing team goes to the locker room. My favorite is when they yell, and they do this every time. We play fucking club hockey, and we're fucking better than you. And they all were decent high school players, and they're bombed out of their minds. and they have a complete entourage of girls who just like being around them.
Oh yeah, that's true at that sport at all levels.
Yep.
They probably all got the hair going.
One of the first early decisions that Mark made as in his job with the Everblades. Mark, you were a fan of the arts, weren't you?
Hey, anybody that wanted to donate their tickets to the ballet, we were always for that.
Let me tell you, Blades were packed. One of the first things I think I ever said to Mark, I go, good looking crowd. He goes, oh yeah, it's done intentionally.
Dallas Stars were the first to do that. Dallas Stars filled their place with good-looking women.
Yeah.
It's a good business model.
And it is somewhat sad as the years go by and I'm up there in the bar upstairs between periods where all the girlfriends congregate between periods. And it's a shame to see the turnover rate. Because when they're there, they're the princesses of all time, and the next week it's someone else.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
With Pat Kirwan joining us on a hump day, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. You know Pat, moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 7, NFL radio. He just got done doing that NFL Today thing at CBS and the Super Bowl. How are you, buddy?
Well, I'm doing great, but I needed my Miller and Moulton fix today. Yesterday I was depressed all day, and I realized the problem is I haven't talked to the boys. And then, of course, I've come to really enjoy Trent and his love affair with the Lions. And now, making an impact with him, he's going to minor league hockey games. We'll have lots to talk about going forward.
Absolutely. All right, Pat. So obviously we can start tagging players here. Free agency's a month away, but what is it you're looking at in the league right now? What are you paying attention to?
I'm paying attention to the business because you got to get your foundation set. So we have option year issues that are going to be all with the class of 2021 first round. That's Trevor Lawrence's draft and who's going to get it and who's not. And people say, well, Why are you worrying about it now? I'm worried about it now because you got to get in under the cap real soon. And some of those things have to be factored in, like Trevor Lawrence. His option year is going to be $22 million. And you got to look at all these things and who you're going to pick up. I've got about 12 guys I think will not get the option, which is about right. So that's one thing. Restricted free agent tenders, here they come. You got those guys that you love that you got to protect those guys, the restricted guys. And the first round tender for them is $6.4 million. If you want to put a second round grade, it's 4.6. And if you want just to write a first refusal, it's going to be almost $3 million. So you got to deal with that. The void deals is really what I'm on today. A lot of guys did funny money contracts. And those funny money contracts where you spread out bonuses, I don't want to complicate this for the listeners, over years you don't even have the guy under contract. They're called void. They voided out. And Minnesota is in trouble. They've got Cousins who's, if he doesn't do a new deal, they got a $29 million shot from voided stuff. Hunter's $15 million. Davenport, who just pushed the date back a week, is $5 million. You just think about those numbers, and all of a sudden your team might be hit for almost $50 million of cap space for the voidable stuff. So there's a bunch of Tampa Bay, Tennessee, they're all involved with that. Franchise tags, that's coming up right now. Who are you going to put a franchise tag on? And then the minimum wage stuff, those things go up. So all that adds up to stress on your cap. You're a team like the Saints that's scheduled to be $82 million over the cap. When you're in pro personnel like I was, you take all those teams at the bottom that have real issues, Buffalo, Miami, and you start looking at their roster, figuring out who the cap casualties are. So when free agency starts, and it's not far away, I'm going to the Combine next Tuesday, and right after we get back, will be free agency. And you start looking at those teams and going, okay, who are they going to have to dump? Who are they going to have to get rid of? Who we're going to get for free? And you start looking at, I track every freaking position. I just still like doing it. The safety position in free agency is going to be awesome. There's so many 25 and 26-year-olds that are good players. Now, they're going to tag Winfield. We get all that. But Kyle Duggar, maybe not tag. Curl over in Washington. But now we added 3 guys already to that list. Eddie Jackson, Adrian Phillips, Tracy Walker. So they're going to load up. You got to marry that to your draft. You can almost skip safety in the draft with the amount of quality players. Now, you're going to know if you get them or not. But that's where the strength is, and there's some real weaknesses in free agency where if you need an offensive tackle, you better be thinking about the draft.
And the Giants have to make a decision, Barkley or the safety McKinney.
Yeah.
And it sounds as if they're going to go with the safety McKinney, and Barkley will likely walk. But speaking of Barkley, this is a very deep running back free agent class potential. Jacobs could be there. Derrick Henry will be there. Barkley. Pat, if you just go back a few weeks, the Bills were criticized for getting away from the running game, and that's why they lost to the Chiefs. The Packers were criticized getting away from the running game. They put the game in Jordan Love's hands late. He cost them the game. The Niners not winning the Super Bowl. A lot of people felt they lost it in the third quarter when they got away from running the ball. So we've seen it just in the recent playoffs, Pat. Teams not running the ball is why they lost. Do you think then that there will be a team or two that then says, we need to invest in the running back?
I agree with you, but this is the time of year they all tell you how much they want to run the ball. They just start lying from now till August. And they convince themselves that they're going to run the ball more. But it's the pressure of the moment, the big games. The quarterback's the highest paid guy on their team most of the time, certainly not in Purdy's case. And they fly away from it. And this has been going on forever. How many teams, this is to the listeners, how many teams do you think run the ball more than they throw the ball per year for the last 10 years? 2.5. Call it 3 out of 32. They just don't do it. And do you think one guy has ever been hired as an OC because he just went in detail about the run game? They're all hired because they can coach the quarterback and throw the ball. And that's their background, and that's their signature, and they all revert back to it. It's very hard for these guys. And if you really take the running quarterback out of the equation, you peel back the onion on that. Those guys are running because they're scrambling off a pass play. Pure running plays. Not many of them. So do I think there's a home for Derrick Henry? Yeah. People already label him a dinosaur, but I said yesterday, I would think if I was Dallas, he'd be on my team. They didn't have a power back. They lost Zeke Elliott, and Rico Dowdell's not the answer. So I think there's places for him. Austin Eckler, if you need a third down guy that's got, the ability to run on first and second down, there's a guy I like. So there are a lot of running backs, like you said, and someone said, oh, Baltimore should go get Derrick Henry. Okay, fine. But they just had Gus Edwards. He ran for 13 rushing touchdowns.
It wasn't their runners in Baltimore. It was their play caller. I mean,
yes.
They had the guys, Pat.
Yeah, it's the play caller, the one who thinks I'm going to get a head coaching job when I develop this quarterback. And you don't develop quarterbacks by handing off.
All right, let's talk about the Bucs. You had mentioned Tampa. It looks like they're going to tag Winfield. What do they do with? Are they going to be able to keep Evans? Are they going to sign Baker? When you look at Tampa, how would you be running that franchise going forward?
Well, I think you need one to get the other. That's the first thing. I don't think Evans would go back without Baker there. Baker really knows how to get the ball to Evans. These receivers, a 31-year-old Mike Evans, an awesome player. He hit a lot deep shots last year with Baker. I don't think he wants to go back there if the quarterback thing is unknown. So I would be getting Baker done. Jimmy Miller says it too. Oh, yeah, Baker, he's got to go back to Tampa. I go, he doesn't have to go back there. He should go back there, but he doesn't have to go back there. What if Atlanta made a run at him?
What about Minnesota? Baker's got to be 10, 15 million less a year than Kirk. I mean,
they're not going to be able to keep Kirk unless Kirk decides to stay. They have no way to retain his services.
Right. So if you're Minnesota, why not Baker?
I'm with you. So it goes back to Mark's question about Tampa Bay. How do you retain Evans if you can't deliver Baker? What are you going to tell him? We're getting a rookie quarterback? He's not going down that road at 31. He is going to go to some place where they're pitching the ball to him, and Baker's the answer. So my answer to Mark's question is get Baker signed and then recruit Evans. That's what I'd be doing. I don't think you can go the other way. I think you have to go get Baker done, who's cheaper than Evans anyway. But
Pat, are there going to be any offensive linemen in free agency that are worth a damn?
The guard at the Rams, he'll be worth something. Kevin Dotson.
But that's it, right? I mean,
I'm not a big Connor Williams fan. It's marrying the draft to free agency, and if you're in the O-line business, you better be looking hard at the draft.
Right. That's why I brought it up. Kind of what you said, that if you need a safety, you can get a safety in free agency. You don't have to waste a draft pick. But if you need an offensive lineman, you got to go to the draft.
Yeah, and I think it's really too early to make any statements, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's 6 offensive tackles in the first round.
Well, that means, Pat, if you're right about the offensive line, there's going to be a lot of plug-and-play offensive linemen. So that's putting a lot of pressure on some GMs this year.
Yes, there is. The one thing I'd say about offensive tackles, rookie offensive tackles, first off, we love to call them safe picks. Why? We put them on the field, and unlike a receiver who can't read coverage and looks lost out there, or a corner who can't cover or play press, I can always help the tackle. I can get a tight end over there. I can get a fullback to chip. I can run a protection to him. I can do a lot of things to hide his deficiencies while he's learning how to play. I talked yesterday to the big tackle from Alabama, Latham, J.C. Latham. Man, what a stud that guy is. And he left his home when he was 15. He's like a hockey player, Mark. He left home at 15, went to IMG, and was basically programmed to be a first-round draft pick and totally gets what it's going to take to be on the field opening day.
Pat, if it's even, if literally players, it's like take either one. One's a receiver, one's an offensive lineman. What would you take? Because obviously we had the big debate a couple of years ago, Sewell or Chase. Obviously it's worked out really well for both teams because that's how the draft, it looks like, apparently there could be 8 wide receivers in the first round. You just mentioned there could be 6 offensive tackles in the first round. I think teams, a lot of them are going to have that Bengals-Lions dilemma from a few years ago. Well, we got them rated kind of even. Do we go receiver or lineman?
Well, in general, with no names required to answer that, I'll take the big guy. There's just not enough big guys on the planet. And the depth at receiver is there, and it has been there for a long time. Now, you don't always get one, but I think when you look at Rashee Rice over there in Kansas City, you can find guys who can play receiver in the second and third round. It depends on the quality of your quarterback. The more close to elite the quarterback is, the more they can develop the third, fourth, fifth round receiver. But the big tackle, it's not glitzy. That's why people don't like it. But you know what? You can't live without them. And if there's just not enough 6'6", 330-pound guys with 35-inch arms, there's just not enough of them.
Is that why at the end of the day, if you're Kansas City, you try to sign Jones, you tag Snead, and you figure that if you need another receiver, you just draft one, and the quarterback's job is to make that receiver better?
Yep. And what they need to do is get a left tackle because Donovan cannot play anymore. We all saw that in the Super Bowl. Thank goodness they don't call holding.
I was just going to say, if they're not going to call holding on the Chiefs in the playoffs, they can keep their current tackles. I mean, but if they start calling it, they need to draft some linemen.
Yeah, so to me, it's clear they need a left tackle. Be nice to get one that'll be there for 10 years and be there with Mahomes for his whole career. So, yep, I'll be taking the big tackle over the receiver most of the time. And especially defensive tackles. How many big body guys are there? And how many teams need a wide body? If I have one Dallas caller, I got 100 Dallas callers, and all they want is someone to plug up the middle so they can stop the run.
Pat, you can be $50 million over the cap, but you cut 2 guys, rework 2 contracts, you're back to even. You examine the contracts. Give me a team that cap-wise, besides New Orleans, which is $80 million over, is there a team out there that cap-wise, them being over is a problem because of how they've done contracts?
Well, that's the voidable years that are going to haunt people. So if you got voidables that are all coming due here, like I mentioned, Minnesota, they're a mess because of their love affair with Cousins, when Cousins had him over the barrel the whole time. But Tampa Bay, we already talked about. Look at Tennessee. Bye-bye Tannehill, but that's a $9 million hit because of the void. Henry's $5.5 million. Al-Shahir's $2.5 million. So those kind of teams have problems. But the Buffalo Bills need to be examined closely. Because they are, now, why do I bring them up? Can they get to the 0 number, which you talked about? Yeah, but they want to win a Super Bowl, and they're not going to stay together 2 more years if they don't get over the top. So they're 54 million over. They were 51 million over yesterday. Now they're 54 million over because I'm sure there was some incentives earned that were unlikely. How do they develop a team? This is why they can't catch Kansas City. Kansas City has $23 million of cap space right now, and they can liquidate part of Mahomes' contract, which we talked about last week, and get to $50 million over the cap. World champions with $50 million. So getting to 0 doesn't close the door or close the gap on Kansas City. Buffalo and Miami are sitting, both of them, over $50 million. And they got a lot of guys out of contract.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7. It's also part of CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers. We can't fake fresh. Pat will rejoin us on Friday. Seth Everett is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hi, Seth.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Where are you?
You're hearing me okay? I'm in Washington, D.C.
Ah.
Hello.
Hello, Washington, D.C. Hello.
School field trip, business? What?
Little daddy-daughter couple days.
You guys go to the hockey game last night?
Oh, yeah, we were there. Started nice.
Well, got to see Ovechkin score a couple. I mean,
yeah,
I know, but still,
you know, if you guys would get a goalie,
see, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. But yeah, and then we toured a couple of colleges. Not toured, but just visited a couple of colleges. I went to Georgetown, and the whole time I'm there, it's killing me that I didn't wear any one of my 76 Syracuse shirts. We walked into the bookstore, and I'm looking around, and my daughter goes, "What are you even looking at this for? There's no way you'd even wear any of this." I said, "You're right."
I was going to say, even if she goes there, you'll be hard.
She has to go there. She has to get her first report card before I believe.
You'll be turning around to your wife going, "Wait a minute, are we sending money to Georgetown?"
Georgetown?
Is this a mistake? Have we been scammed? You don't have to do this when you're with your daughter on a daddy-daughter trip.
She's good. No, she's good.
Okay. I mean, you can't.
I did forget about it. But I saw the alert, and I'm not going to leave you in the lurch that quickly.
You could. I mean, you could text us next time you're doing a daddy-daughter trip. Go, listen, guys, I can't make Wednesday. Okay.
I know.
I mean, we pay you so handsomely to do this.
I know. It's contract.
Yeah. Right.
The funny thing was, before I left, I had to race to get Sports with Friends finished. But Hall of Justice I have to put together when I get home.
So you going back today?
Yeah, we're stopping at Delaware because we're going to Ocala this weekend.
Oh,
horse country.
Yeah, my other child is competing this weekend in this massive horse show.
Oh, wow.
We came here because they're off from school, and we don't need to watch her practice. You know how we feel about practice.
No, Iverson was right.
Yep. Well, we'll get there Thursday night, and then we'll stay till Sunday.
Okay.
Oh, so you're going from DC to Florida?
No, we're gonna go home because we got a dog.
Oh, that's right, the dog.
Yep.
Damn dog.
So we're gonna leave relatively soon, and we're gonna stop at the University of Delaware.
Okay. Go Blue Hens, right?
Blue Hens,
get a little Blue Hen merch.
And not to get all controversial with you, but I had no idea that GW changed their name from the Colonials. What was where was I?
First off, why did they change it?
Oh well, I read why they changed it. You don't want to get into it. It's the minutia of details.
But I mean,
here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
this is going to be a fun dozen minutes with Seth Everett. He has Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice. First off, this is once again, you need to join us occasionally. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You get to see Seth. He's joining us from a hotel room. We found out during the break. It's a daddy-daughter fun education trip all at the same time. They took in the Devils game against the Caps last night. Ovechkin with 2 goals. Devils still need a goalie. And daughter's looking at schools. And Seth, I don't know if you're aware, but Trent, the young producer who joined the show about 4 months ago, he's all things Detroit. And we have said, God has a sense of humor. You're going to marry a cute lady from Appleton, Wisconsin, who has Packer season tickets, because that's how it works. Right. So now we know what, Trent's future looks like. You went to Georgetown yesterday with your daughter?
Yeah.
I mean, it's done. The proud Syracuse alum is going to be sending a couple $100,000 to Georgetown. This is great.
Well, all right. Since you went there, I'll tell this story. So the phrase that the word Hoya comes from is Hoya Saxa. That's where their name comes from. I think it's a Latin phrase. I don't know. Hoya Saxa. There is a Syracuse website that I have followed since the internet started. That is Hoya Saxa. They changed the A to U. And I walked around, and on the billboards, there's all this Hoya Saxa, and I said, "That's spelled wrong."
That's where your money's going, buddy.
Yeah, right.
You can't stop it now. Once the visit comes, they fall in love with the school. You can't be that dad. You can try. I mean, it's not like she's a Ranger fan.
No, but she's not.
That's the whole question in your life, Seth. What would be worse if my daughter A went to Georgetown or B became a Rangers fan? I mean, honestly, that's your hell right there.
Georgetown is a fantastic school.
Exactly. You can always fall back on that one, Seth.
Nothing good comes from the Rangers,
except the goalie.
Hey, what'd you guys think of the MetLife Stadium thing?
I thought it was a very good weekend for hockey. I have not seen ratings. I'm curious. Obviously, it was a big thing in the Northeast. but I'm curious since there was very little sports on this weekend with Daytona getting rained out Sunday. I thought it was a big opportunity for the NHL. They presented a really good product. It looked great on TV.
Looked
I'm
gorgeous.
curious if anybody watched.
It was really cold. Yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to know how many people saw it. I mean, they can't argue with 150,000 people seeing hockey in the area, in person, which was pretty impressive. What I loved was the way they paid attention to detail. I'll give you two cases in point. Every team in the NHL has a goal song that they play whenever the home team scores. And the Devils used to have Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter. And they changed it about 10 years ago, and they had a contest of what should their goal song be, and there was a whole thing. And a New Jersey band had this local band had a song that the Devils use as their goal song. For the MetLife Stadium game, they had the band there live, and they were on standby next to the rink. And every time the Devils scored, they played live. And when Nico Hischier scored 32 seconds in, the band was scrambling to get ready. It was fantastic. It's the attention to detail that I noticed that I hadn't seen in the two other outdoor games that I had been to, the one at Yankee Stadium and the one at Citizens Bank Park that I saw that was in the very, very beginning. I just think that the NHL has this so down. It was remarkable. The other thing I thought was really cool, and this is maybe just subtle for me, they kept announcing in the stadium how this was New Jersey's first game at the Meadowlands since 2007. They don't need to do that. There's a generation of people that don't even remember that. And the reality is the Devils played at the Meadowlands Arena for 25 years, and it's a stone's throw from MetLife Stadium, and the Devils were returning to the Meadowlands, to play this outdoor game. I just thought that was what a great homage to your history, a history that is long forgotten when you move arenas.
And a team, quite frankly, without a ton of history.
Right.
A more recent franchise. So to get into that's fantastic. I will say, you guys are both, you obviously live there. David's from the Northeast. I'm a hockey guy. Mm-hmm. I wasn't running to watch the Stadium Series this weekend. I didn't watch a second of it. So like you, David, I'm curious of the ratings.
Right.
Because while it came off really good and they did a fine job with everything, is anybody watching it outside the fans of those teams?
Right. And
I don't know.
And if they don't get Mark, that's a bad sign. Trent, did you watch it all?
I did not.
Yeah. And that's bad because they're both hockey guys. Granted, the Wings are their favorite team, but they both like the sport. Trent even went to a minor league hockey game over the weekend. So, I mean, these are two hockey fans. You and I watched because our teams were involved.
Sure.
But, on a very, very light sports weekend. You had golf with, Tiger not in it and arguably the second biggest name in the field got DQ'd.
Disqualified, yep.
Right. The Daytona gets rained out to Monday. The NBA's, all their stuff's at night.
Yep.
Okay, and it's on cable, and the hockey's on network TV. By the way, second lowest rated All-Star game and what have you ever. It did beat the year before, but the ratings not good.
Oh, so, now I'm going to have to explain to my daughter what cable is.
Tell her it's what they're doing to streaming in a bundle. Okay. Play a cassette for her while you're at it.
Maybe even an 8-track, Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Hell, even a CD for that matter. But did you see Fubo? That's who it is, right?
Fubo.
Okay,
Fubo.
they're suing everybody.
Yeah, Seth, is this a Hail Mary by them? Because they're they had their little run with stock a while ago. It's worth pennies now. Is this their last Hail Mary to try to get into the game?
Yeah, their whole idea, and it was, a very forward-thinking idea, is Fubo is the home for sports. So what they did was they spent their money to get not content in terms of scripted content or reality content. They wanted sports rights deals. And so Fubo is the place, it's the app that if you subscribe to them, you get all the regional sports networks around your particular area. And it's a smart idea. What the new venture between Fox and ESPN and Warner Brothers is supposed to be is a sports hub. Well, they're saying literally the same thing. The difference is the content's very different because the Warner Brothers, ESPN, Fox thing is their property. It's their thing, whereas Fubo is just taking other people's stuff. So I don't know that the lawsuit has merit, but yeah, a good way to describe it is a Hail Mary.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice, or his two terrific podcasts. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, at Seth_Everett. Hey, Commissioner Manfred, I know your buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, Rob.
He came out a few days ago and said, yeah, I think we need to redo our offseason. And I think we need to do it like the other sports where, quite frankly, we have a signing period. And I want to make December free agency month and basically have everything locked up by January 1. And then we show up 6 weeks later to spring training. You deal with the Players Association a lot. Do you think the players, because the players, in a sense, Seth, they hate, guys signing third week of February, not sure if they're going to get a contract offer. There's merit to it. But at the same token, it creates less leverage. So they might lose money in that situation. Do you think there's any chance that baseball can create what football and basketball have created?
No. I don't think the union would go for it in the slightest. I haven't talked to anybody about that in the last couple of days since Robbie Manfred had his press conference. But, the idea of trying to create events, we've praised in the past the NFL. They make a night out of the schedule. Like something that you could post on Twitter in 2 seconds, they make a night out of it. Other sports do that very, very well. Baseball doesn't. And what baseball is going to try to do is put the toothpaste back in the tube, and it doesn't work. In order to have leverage, you need time, and you need teams to see how their other teams are shaking out. That's how deals get made. So frankly, in my opinion, it's going to stay exactly the way it is.
Did you have any problem with what Anthony Rendon said about baseball not being a top priority?
No, but I am not a particular fan of him or his team. I don't not like him. I think that if you are a fan of him or a fan of his team, that it's just not what you want to hear. And none of what he said is wrong. None of what he said is unique to him. We've heard it, time and time again. It's not cool when you say that, because what I think about is an 8-year-old who has an Anthony Rendon jersey, and he wants to hear that baseball's not his number one priority. I follow teams where I bring up this guy all the time. Arsenal has this guy named Bukayo Saka. He's a superstar. He's the Jack Hughes of the Premier League. And this guy leaves every minute on the field. Like, he gives 1,000%, and you can tell this is his life. And even if he, in his private thoughts, thinks it's a job, he doesn't let you think that. He makes you think it's the biggest thing in his world. That's what Rendon didn't do.
Literally 30 seconds. Sports with
Speaking
Friends.
of, Sports with Friends, Tyler Adams is a midfielder for the U.S. men's Olympic soccer team. He's also, he plays in the Premier League for Bournemouth. He started with the Red Bulls. He's a fascinating guy. He is part of the World Cup. Hall of Justice is all about, Madam Web, and it sucks.
All right.
The podcast is good. The movies,
right?
Lame.
Our best to your daughter. Thanks for her tolerating you doing this. Safe travels, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Go Hoyas. Seth Everett joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. e-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So my cousin was in town yesterday, and she and her husband came to my mom's house and hung out with them for a couple hours. And as we're playing a game of euchre, my cousin announces to me, "Oh, you know, Brandon is part owner of the Ottawa Senators now." Her brother. I'm like, "Oh, isn't that nice?" He was part of the group that bought the Sens.
Okay.
Wow. Over a game of euchre.
Over a game of euchre. Her husband and I kicked the crap out of my cousin and my mother.
Very nice.
5 games to 1. I was very happy.
I haven't played in so long.
That's the first time I've played in a year and a half.
I mean, that's like when I went home, that's like my family's thing. But
Yeah,
we never got around
never got around to it.
No,
Too much stuff going on.
Yeah, we were just running around, having fun. Never got around to playing cards.
That is such a Michigan game, too.
Well, that's the thing. It's so regional. You can't just like pick up euchre down here and just do it with people.
The hockey players all played Schnarples was the game we played, which is it's a euchre, it's a Trump game. It's a euchre-esque game, full deck.
Gotcha.
But yeah, euchre's kind of Ontario, Michigan, Ohio, and that's about it.
I love it.
And they can't keep score right in Ohio because they use 6s and 4s instead of 5s.
Idiots. David, do you know how to play euchre?
No.
Do you know how to spell euchre?
Good question.
Not unless he's the broadcaster with the Brewers.
EUCHER.
Oh, wow. Instead of UE and a K.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. RE. EUCHRE.
Man.
Right.
What is this, French? Where'd we get this game from? Quebec? New Orleans? Where'd we get it?
Maybe, you know what? It's a great question.
That's a very French spelling right there.
Huh. It's the Canada thing, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Played in Australia, Canada, Great Britain, New Zealand, and the Midwestern United States.
There's There's a Family Guy spoof about euchre. Have
Is there
seen that?
really?
Yes,
No.
it's hilarious. Lois is trying to explain the rules to everybody. Peter pulls out a gun. He pulls out a gun, shoots himself, then he ends up in hell, and then the devil's trying to explain euchre to him, so then he shoots himself again and goes back up to it's
that's fantastic.
ridiculous, but it's hilarious. Jake, you let me know. I'll be there.
In upstate New York, Johnny Finger Lakes? Did not know that.
How close to Canada are you?
There you go.
Because when I lived in the southern tier of New York, it never came up.
By the way, David, I told Mark before the show, I had a 4-leg parlay last night. 3 of them hit. Michigan State money line was the one that didn't. They didn't even need the points. I just needed them to win. They were 10-point favorites. Just needed them to win. I had Creighton money line in there. Florida State to cover and Missouri to cover. And Michigan State didn't win. All Michigan State had to do was win.
How much would you have won?
$58.
It's a hell of a $2 bet right there.
It is. And it was looking great. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com will join us in a little more than 15 minutes. We've got a couple of poll questions today. FloridaSportsNetwork.com, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twix. Vote accordingly. First off, do you give first team mulligans when you play golf? Yes or no? I'm a first team mulligan guy. You have to play the mulligan, though. All right, but I'm a first team mulligan guy. Mark, not so much. And in honor of
that shouldn't surprise anybody.
No. And in honor of Anthony Rendon, basically saying, listen, this is a job. I'm here, aren't I? Okay. And saying that playing baseball is not a priority. That well, how is it that you feel about your job? You know, love it? Hate it. Is winning in a big way.
Hate my job has moved up from the 9 percentage points it had earlier in the show to 13% as people are now arriving at work.
Right.
And jumping on X.
Yes.
Seeing the post and acting accordingly.
We think during the lunch hour that the hate votes are going to go way up when people are having such a glorious day at work or run into the person that they absolutely hate at work and want to get fired. In all seriousness, I want to bring something up. Because this is the discussion, and we brought this up a couple hours ago. This is the discussion that's going to happen today in Dallas. College football playoff folks are meeting. The SEC and the Big Ten is going to look at the rest of the room and go, yeah, we're not sharing the money evenly, okay? There would be no playoff without us. So we've got to make our money, if you know what I mean. Whether our teams win games in the playoff or not. So however you guys are thinking we're going to divvy up the money, just make sure that the majority of it's coming our way. You got it? Let me ask you this, Mark, because if there's backlash, if the rest of the room goes, shove it. Well, we all know that the Big Ten and the SEC could. Now, they've tied down with TV contracts, may not be able to do it right away. But, Mark, in theory, they could go to ESPN and Fox, who are running the sport, and say, well, we got 2 more years with the existing playoff format, but how about we do our own thing in 2026? Just the two of us. Would that work? If you know what I mean, where the Big Ten becomes the NFC and the SEC becomes the AFC. They literally become the college football version of the NFL.
Let me just ask you this counter. How would Fox would be all for this? Because Fox would then get their playoff, the Big Ten playoff, if you will, leading up to the college football Super Bowl with the Big Ten champ taking on the SEC champ. How would ESPN be with all of this? Because in essence, they'd be losing half the programming to the college football playoff.
Well, they'd have Greg Sankey looking at them going, well, do you want to get on board? Because this is what Tony and I are going to do. So do you want to keep televising these games beginning in 2026, or do you want Fox to televise them all? Because we have no problem with you guys televising our regular season games. We'll do the playoff on Fox. We don't care where the money's coming from.
And NBC and a streaming service and wherever else we're going to do it.
Don't care. Just don't care. You can carry all our regular season games. We love you, SEC Network. We're partners. So that's what I think Greg Sankey would say. Listen, do you want to keep driving the car, or do you just want to drive it part of the time and be a passenger the other part of the time? But let me ask you, will this work? Here's the part that I've been saying this for years. The Ohio States and the Alabama fans can't tolerate their teams going 8-4. And that's what happens when your sport becomes the NFL. The 12-0s are gone. If you're only playing the SEC and the Big Ten, those 4 non-conference wins disappear. And now look at who you're playing. Mark, how many Gator fans are in our lives? They are miserable. You want to answer the Anthony Rendon question? They're miserable. They hate their family. They hate their job. They hate everything about their life right now. You know why? They've had 3 straight losing seasons in football. They can't handle it. You tell them the next couple of years are going to go 7-5 and 8-4, they ain't going to sign up for that either.
But if I told you they were going to go 8-4 and that got you qualified for the playoff, would that change their mind?
But
no, it wouldn't change the Alabama fans' mind. But right now, the Florida fan, 8-4, 9-3, and you're in the playoff.
Now, there's a big difference between 8-4 and 9-3. But I know what you're saying. But see, to me, this is like, as NFL fans, I mean, think about us. Okay, we have the teams we root for on Saturdays. We know what our record has to be on Saturday to be relevant. Our record doesn't have to be that to be relevant on Sunday. Hell, 9-7 teams have won the Super Bowl.
The Gators fan, that's the Bucks fan, can attest to that.
Right. Okay. So their standards on Saturday, very different than their standards on Sunday. And I'm very serious when I say this. I mean, first off, if the SEC and Big Ten go forward with this, all of the charm of college football is in danger of completely being erased. And this basically just being NFL 2. That's number one. But Mark, I'm serious about this. Okay. You know, you're a Michigan State guy, but you know many a Michigan fan. How did they handle life before the last 3 years? How was that working for them?
They were miserable.
Correct. Well, now that's with them scheduling 3-4 wins a year. They started the year 4-0. And look at how it ended up for 10 years. That's the day. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC want to do their own thing. That's great. That's all you're playing. What's your win-loss record going to look like?
I mean, look at it. Big Ten becomes 4 4-team divisions. You play 2 of them you figure out how you're going to divide up the schedule. 1 year you don't play the West, the other next year, and you play the other 2.
Remember, Bo
Conference championship game would go away, and it would probably go away, David, because the playoffs each round would generate the kind of money necessary.
Hopefully. But you know what I'm getting at here. I mean, if you're going to completely professionalize this sport, well, the charm, the rivalries, the tradition is what made your sport different. You're totally trashing that. For what? Money. Okay. Now let's talk about the one-loss record. And you're going to keep going to your donors for money? Hell, Frank Solich got fired at Nebraska because he went 9-3. Bo Pelini got fired because he was a jerk, and he kept going 9-3. Now, obviously, it turned out to be a mistake, but that's the mentality of the elite college fan base. They can't handle 9-3. You want to turn your sport into the NFL? Hell, the Chiefs just won 11-6. What's the equivalent of that in college? 8-4?
Yeah.
You go 8-4 3 years in a row at LSU. Tell me how that's working out, Brian Kelly.
Initially, David, it would go really badly. It depends how this playoff works.
Okay. I would just be in the room saying to Tony and Greg, you may just want to pump the brakes on this. You're making a boatload of money. Money's not the problem for you guys anyway. You don't need to keep pressing for more right now. Can we just see how this works first? Before you destroy this sport? Because that's what they're talking about today in Dallas. They're talking about becoming the AFC and the NFC in a very subtle way.
Miller and Moulton. We'll switch gears back to the NFL. Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network. He joins us next right here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Matt's not calling us, is he?
We're calling him.
Okay, because the phone just rang. I didn't answer it.
No.
Probably looking for Justin Timberlake tickets.
That was the best and the worst that day. Hi, I'm looking for Taylor Swift tickets. We were waiting for, was it Greg Gard?
Yes.
That was the most bizarre thing ever. We're trying to get a Big Ten basketball coach on the line. We got chicks calling for Taylor Swift tickets.
So ESPN just wrote a story in which they made 3 trade proposals to the Bears for the number 1 pick. So Washington would move up from 2. They give them their first and second rounder this year and their first rounder next year. Would you take it? They make the same offer with the Patriots at 3. First and second this year, first rounder next year. If you're the Bears, do you take either one to move down to 2 or 3?
Are they saying you could do both, though? Is that what they're?
Well, they're saying this is, Washington's offer, New England's offer, they're not saying.
If I'm trading to 2, then I'm calling up New England and anybody else and saying, do you want to come to 2? Because I'm trading out of 1.
Right, but I'm asking you, if you're the Bears, would you take this year's first and second round pick and next year's 1 to move down 1 spot?
Yeah.
Okay, would you do it to move down 2 spots?
I would think I could get a little more.
Okay. Now, then they made the Atlanta trade offer. Atlanta's at 8. Now, the sexy thing about if you just take the Atlanta offer is the Bears are picking also at 9 because that's their own pick. So you'd have back-to-back first. But here's the deal. You get this year's first rounder. You get next year's first and second rounder. You get 2026's first and second rounder. So it's 2 1s, 2 2s, and a move down this year from 1 to 8.
I was listening to ESPN, and Fortenbaugh went through all the teams that have traded down to go get a quarterback. And he used Wentz as one. What was the other one he used? And it didn't work for either team, but they still – Jared Goff. Teams went all in for Goff and Wentz. Even though those quarterbacks didn't necessarily work. Both those teams got to the Super Bowl. The teams that traded out didn't do squat, have not done diddly squat.
Right. And got to the Super Bowl within 3 years also.
And have been back since they went.
Correct.
So I just thought that was interesting.
So is the Atlanta offer enticing enough? You move down to 8 this year. It's a pick swap this year. Next year, you get Atlanta's first and second. The following year, you get Atlanta's first and second.
I do like that it's spread out. I'm not going to lie, because you don't get hit cap hell with all these picks coming to fruition at once.
The reason why, if I was the Bears, I would turn down Atlanta's offer is I would say, if in theory, well, you're going to be good, and my first round pick is going to be in the 20s both years. My second round pick is going to be in the 50s both years. You got to do something for me now. Like, I would look at Atlanta and say, I want your first and second rounder this year. Because then if I'm the Bears, I got 8, 9, but I also got like 40, 41.
Right.
I wouldn't do it, period, because I would want Caleb Williams. That's just me. I think I'm in the minority there.
Well, it depends on who you talk to, because there are some people that do think he's going to be transformative, and there are those that think he's going to be a disaster.
Matt's on. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Our final segment along the network, and we end in style with Matt Cannata. He's the guy. He founded, he runs Pro Football Network and College Football Network, for that matter. PFN.com, CFN.com. Follow Matt on Twix, Twitter/X at Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, PFN. Cannata, PFN. It's David and Mark. How you been?
I like the Twix. I like that. That's really clever. You'll start using that from now on.
Unfortunately, it's the damn candy bars in the way. We would have, copyright that thing. We'd be rich. We'd be a business partner of Pro Football Network if that damn candy bar wasn't in the way.
Yep.
All right, Matt. It is the time of year where we're speculating, whether it's the draft, whether it's free agency, whether it's franchise tags. What has you most interested right now at this point in the NFL offseason?
Yeah, coming off a really good competitive Super Bowl, right? I'm most excited to see where the QBs land in free agency, right? Kind of sounds a little cliche with which is that position, but you have your top two. You have Kirk Cousins, who we don't know if it's going to go back to Minnesota. Then you have Baker Mayfield, likely going to be back in Tampa, but can there be a bidding war for him if the Buccaneers choose not to franchise tag him, right? That's obviously the wild card and everything. After Baker, you have a bunch of backups, right? Minshew, Brissett, Jameis, and so forth. So starting up top there, understanding how that's going to shake out and what that's going to look like. Then you look at the running backs too. There is a good crop of running backs set to hit the market. Obviously, again, the franchise tag. They look at Saquon, you look at Josh Jacobs, you look at Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift. Right, that list is kind of deep, going down to Zach Moss and J.K. Dobbins. There's some good players there, and then looking at wide receivers: T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown, Donald Murray, Gabe Davis. Even it's going to be a robust free agent market with a lot of top-heavy players, and we're going to see some good action these first few days in the upcoming month or so, less than a month before that legal tampering period begins.
The quarterback class, yeah, you mentioned the top two, but that's probably the best pool of quote-unquote backup quarterbacks that we've seen in free agency maybe ever. Matt, do you think, we could all recite the examples of last year of backups being needed, Minshew, he won 7 games as a starter last year in Indianapolis. Flacco coming off his couch, winning comeback player of the year. Do you think Miller and Moulton have been big in investing in a backup quarterback? Do you think this is the year with that pool of talent available that teams spend money on their QB2?
You have to, right? It's not common for QBs to go through the entire season without missing a game, without missing some snaps, right? Very few are able to consistently do it, right? You might have one good year, let's say Tua, for example, where he didn't miss any games this year, right? But that's not something that's the norm for any QB in the league. And if you have your franchise QB go down, you need to have a good premium backup QB, right? And I look at that list. I think Brissett, he's been around the horn a little bit. I'm not really too sold on him. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. I look at Gardner, right? I look at Jameis. I look at those guys with still some high upside who can come in and really, if you can go, win 3 games, win 4 games, and here and there, obviously it's just a bridge to that franchise QB gets back. But if you're not investing in your backup QB position, you're playing very dangerously, living on the edge. So I think that's incredibly important, and I think more teams are starting to realize just how important that is.
Are there going to be deals at the running back position? Unless Saquon gets tagged, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Jacobs doesn't look like he's going to get tagged. We've got Derrick Henry out there. There should be a lot of value at the running back position this year.
There should be, right? And I think that's what's most exciting about that, because Barkley, Jacobs, and Pollard all were franchise tagged in 2023, right? Likely they're not going to be franchise tagged again this year. The interesting thing that's going to be out there is how do teams continue to value the running back position, right? We've seen the data, we've seen the trends around running backs getting second contracts. Look at Ezekiel Elliott, for example, right? Dominant player. First few years in the league, gets that second contract, and it's been really hard for him to get at that level that he used to. Derrick Henry is aging, right? I don't think teams are going to be looking at him as a RB1 who's going to come there and settle that position for them. But I think Saquon still has a lot of mileage left on him. I think Josh Jacobs definitely does. I think Tony Pollard does, and Austin Eckler, I think, is a dynamic running back out of the backfield. Obviously, Harbaugh is now there in L.A., so if he has value on Eckler, he's going to make sure that deal gets done. But this running back group is pretty impressive that's going to hit free agency. You don't get a good running back group like this that hits free agency often.
Did Saquon turn down last year more money than he's probably going to be offered this year? I mean, reportedly, the Giants put 2 and guaranteed 23 million in front of him last year. Well, he ended up getting tagged, which was 10, and they threw $1 million in incentives, and I'm not sure he reached them because he didn't reach 1,000 yards. Well, that means he'd be making 11 or 12 this year. Matt, let's just say the Giants don't tag him. Is he going to get offered 11 or 12 million? We saw Cook. Cook wasn't even offered 6 when he hit the market last year. Do you think a team is going to offer Jacobs, Barkley, whomever 10 or more million a year?
Well, you look at the current contracts now, right? Saquon is going to be 27 when the season starts. You look at how much the running backs are making now. You have Kamara making the most at 15 mil per year, or Kamara making one of the most at 15 mil per year. McCaffrey's making 16 mil per year, right? McCaffrey's 28, Kamara's 29. Kamara's kind of falling off that cliff. You look at guys in that range. Nick Chubb, 29 years old, 12.2. Aaron Jones, 30 years old, 12 million per year. Jonathan Taylor, 25, 14 million per year. Then you look at Joe Mixon, right? 28 years old, 5.75 million. Miles Sanders, 27 years old, 6.3 million. Bijan Robinson, 5.4 million, obviously a rookie. So having Saquon getting that contract isn't totally unrealistic, but knowing his injury history the past several years, I think it's going to be hard for him. I think he's going to be disappointed when he hits that open market, because I don't think teams are running around trying to get into bidding wars for running backs. So I think they misplayed that last year. I think they tried to push the Giants into one direction and didn't think that the Giants would push back as heavily as they did. They're probably going to regret that when free agency opens and they're not getting the contracts that they think that Saquon deserves.
What's Mike Evans going to get on the open market, or is he going to be a buck next year, Matt?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because Mike Evans has been the most consistent player in for the Bucs for quite a while, right? And certainly being able to hit the market again and looking at what he's currently making, right? I think it's in the 12 million range or so, and recently signed a 5-year, 82.5 million contract back in 2018. He's going to be 31, I believe, when the season starts. I know he's 30 now.
31 now.
So I think wide receivers look a little different than running backs, right? When you get consistency, when you get that big target for QBs, I think teams are understanding just how important a wide receiver one is. And he's going to get a nice contract. I'd be surprised if he's not with the Bucs again, but certainly the top free agent wide receiver to hit the open market, besides T. Higgins. There's probably going to be a nice bidding war for him, and he's going to end up getting the money that he's looking for because of that bidding war.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, College Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com, CollegeFootballNetwork.com, PFN.com, CFN.com. Follow Matt on Twix, Twitter/X at Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, PFN, Cannata, PFN. What's Baker going to get? What are you hearing? Because all along we thought, well, that Daniel Jones contract is really going to handcuff the Bucs, because if he got 40 for times 4, isn't that kind of what Baker has to get? But it seems as if the NFL wants to treat that contract as the aberration and create kind of a middle class starting quarterback contract where you make 25 to 30 a year. Ultimately, what do you think Baker's going to get? Daniel Jones or 3 for 90?
So probably we're projecting at PFN. We're projecting that 75 million range for about a 3-year deal or so, right? We're looking at Geno Smith compensation range, and Geno Smith signed with the Seahawks when he was 32 years old to that 3-year, 75 million. So we're looking at that as the starting point for where the Bucs look at Baker. Again, I'd be shocked if the Bucs don't sign Baker based on everything that he's done for them this past season, right? So looking at that, if they can't work out a deal, obviously franchise tag would be the way to go. But that's what we're projecting. He'll probably get a tick above that, right? I think that 90 million range that you mentioned is right on target with what he's probably going to command from the Buccaneers.
Justin Fields plays for who next year?
Not the Bears. Not the Bears. And this is something that I've been talking to our draft analysts at Pro Football Network about. Caleb Williams, they believe, is a generational prospect. They believe that Caleb Williams has all the tools to be successful, especially, the mental toughness that you need to succeed in the NFL and throwing away all the outside noise. I think the Bears have seen what Justin Fields can and cannot do. I think they know his ceiling. They know his floor. But when you have a chance to get a dynamite QB and one of the best prospects in a while, you make that move. Now, where does he play? Everyone's saying Atlanta. I'm going to throw a dark horse in there. I don't think it's going to happen. But the Dolphins could make a trade for him. Maybe not as a starter, but maybe as a backup. If no one else kind of goes after Justin Fields. But you look around the NFL, who needs a QB? The Commanders could be one option, right? But you have to fit the system. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury is there, but they have the number 2 pick. Are they going to want to try to jump up for Caleb at 1? Are they going to stay back at 2 and maybe get a Drake May if he's available and so forth? But Justin Fields is not in Chicago. There's a large contingent in that front office who did not have anything to do with drafting Justin Fields, especially the new president. And I don't believe he's a Chicago Bear when the season begins, or even a Chicago Bear in the next few weeks once free agency opens and they're able to trade him. We have been hearing maybe a 3rd-round pick, 2nd-round pick he would command on the market. So teams trying to get him probably won't have to pay a premium, even though the Bears are sticking their feet in the sand and saying we're not going to give him up unless it's a premium compensation package.
By the way, what is Pittsburgh going to do at that position? I mean, their play has been bad. If you count Roethlisberger's like last year, they're not even averaging 1 touchdown pass per game for 3+ years now. I mean, they're going to bring in a veteran to challenge Pickett. Who?
We've been hearing, I think it's been around a little bit, Russell Wilson could be a possibility there, right? But does Russell Wilson fit that kind of style that Tomlin likes? He likes that big pocket passer, right? The Steelers have the 20th pick in the NFL draft. That's probably a little too late for them to get a premium QB. That's not going to be probably any better than Kenny Pickett right off the bat, right? So I don't think you can go into the season with Pickett and Rudolph as the 2 QBs battling for that number 1 spot. Certainly, Russell Wilson is going to be on the trade market. We've been hearing some rumblings around there that he might end up in Pittsburgh. That's a really tough one, right? And when you're just looking at the crop of free agent QBs, Baker's not going to hit the open market, right? He's going to get franchise tagged. You look at Kirk Cousins, that could be a possibility. That feels like a good fit for the Steelers in terms of what they look for in their passers. But after that, there's nothing. So you either I don't think they go after Fields. I don't think Fields fits the style of offense that they want to run and that Tomlin likes to run. You look at Kirk Cousins, you look at Russell Wilson, and then maybe you look at trying to trade up in the draft for a QB, maybe a Jaden Daniels, maybe a Bo Nix, right? But again, maybe Michael Penix. But again, how much better are they going to be than Kenny Pickett in year 1? Are they going to be any better than Kenny Pickett overall? I think the Steelers are in a really tough spot because of their draft order selection at 20, and just because of the limited number of QBs that can actually start in the league. That will be an upgrade over what they currently have.
So if the Vikings lose Cousins, what direction do they go in at QB?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? I don't know if those two are ready to renew again, right? I think you can make the case of, hey, let's try to figure this out. Let's try to make it work, and let's re-up for another 2 years or so. You look at where they're selecting in the draft. And you kind of look at seeing, okay, can they get a QB, right? They have the 11th overall pick. I think they can get a QB there, but do they want to reset, right? Do they want to kind of reset and start over with a young QB, a rookie QB, when I feel like they have a good foundation in place with Justin Jefferson, who wants a new contract as well? They're gonna have to make some decisions there. But if they don't get Kirk Cousins, I think they will obviously end up drafting a QB with that 11th pick.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, collegefootballnetwork.com. Follow Matt on Twix, Twitter/X. Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, PFN, Cannata PFN. Hey, Matt, thanks for doing this. All the best to you and the family. Hopefully we can talk again around the draft. Be good.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What did we talk about with Seth? I don't even remember.
A little bit of everything. We had a little baseball talk. We had a little
hockey, right? We
yeah.
talked about the
You could take Matt away if you'd like, or you could leave him up.
You having cereal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'd be having a lot more of it.
Okay.
Yep. At least for the next week. Making a change.
The bonus hour. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is a Diamond District bonus hour on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Thanks so much for being with us. Daniel Wallach will join us on the show tomorrow. He just filed a brief before the Supreme Court about this whole Florida gaming compact thing. So since he's got so much free time on his hands, we figured, hey, come on the show. He said, yeah, sure. So he'll be on it tomorrow.
I have to go a little behind the scenes here.
Uh-oh.
Because you've decided to have breakfast. And you went with an unusual breakfast choice to do a radio show. Not an unusual breakfast choice, a very common breakfast choice. David,
Right.
You're having cereal. That is a routine breakfast for Americans every day. I get it.
Mhm.
But during a radio show, unless you're able to finish that bowl of cereal during a commercial break, I'm very worried that you're going to have a soggy batch of mush by the time we get to our next commercial break. I don't
Maybe.
think you planned accordingly.
Maybe. I mean, the Cheerio is pretty hard, pretty solid. Okay. You know, we've got about 13, 14 minutes here. Okay. You know, it'll be close. It will. It'll be close. There's no doubt, especially since I came back late from break. Like if I had done it right away, I would have had, you know, about 5 full minutes to finish most of the bowl.
Hell, you could have just tilted that sucker back and drank the cereal.
Well, I would have done that. As the music was playing for the Open, that's probably where I would have been. You know, like, this is close enough. I can finish it from here.
Right. I mean, because Miller and Moulton, if there's one thing they can do, it's eat a meal while doing a radio show. We've been doing this for years.
No doubt. In fact, Trent, I don't know if we can teach you that or not. Well, we're going to have shows upcoming where you're co-hosting. Okay. And you are going to be hungry. And it is one of the great skills that you acquire while getting into this business at a young age. You learn to eat amazingly quickly.
How much trouble does that get you in at home? And I don't mean trouble like because you and I are both only children. There was never a fight with brothers over dinner, you know, to get a second helping of whatever. You and I could eat whatever we wanted our whole lives as only children. Whatever was in the house, that was our domain. And my wife will look at me at dinner as they are on their second or third bite and my plate's empty and ask me, why am I eating so fast?
So it's funny. Here was the dynamic growing up. My mother, when I was 9, announced she wasn't cooking anymore. So, and I'll never forget the night. It was spectacular. Okay. She said, I've cooked for the first 9 years of your life. I'm done. And I thought it was great. And we literally mapped out what days of the week we were going to what fast food places. It was awesome. Jack in the Box on Mondays.
As a kid, that's heaven.
My goodness.
It sounds like you weren't parented that well. And I know you were because your mom threw shoes at you. So I have the ultimate respect for your mother. And I'm scared of her. And I've only met her in face to face a handful of times. And she is not a big woman. She intimidates the hell out of me.
It still does me. And I'm 58. So So I had a great childhood, but I had grandparents on my mom's side who they ate at home every meal. Okay, and they, the nice plates and the silverware and what have you. Silverware? What the hell's that? Okay, plates. No. So I would eat because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. My mom had 3 jobs, and so I spent most weekends there. And my grandfather one time reached over, grabbed my arm, and said, "We are not going to take it from you. Slow down." And I looked at him like, "Grandfather, I love you. This is how I eat." Okay, so my childhood was perfect for getting into this business where you have to eat during a commercial break. I mean, Mark, and you and I both did a lot of play-by-play. The commercial breaks are even shorter. Oh my goodness, you're sitting there for 3 hours. You can't move, can't go to the John. All right. I'm kind of hungry. I got to eat something, whether it's just something small like a candy bar or, whatever it is. Or, hey, can you get me a hot dog? Can you get me a burger? All right. And then you go to break and you say to your producer, "How long do you have?" 90 seconds. Oh, this thing's got no chance. Suck that sucker down like a vacuum. Have time to take a couple swigs of water, belch, ready to go.
You're
Welcome
ready to
back
go.
here. Third period, Blades and Stingrays. Sure.
So I just feel, and you may be correct on the crunch of the Cheerio lasting through the segment, but I worry about you for that soggy cereal next break. We've got a couple of poll questions out today. Anthony Rendon says baseball is not his top priority. Had people hot and bothered. Is your job your top priority? We ask you how you feel about your job. Top priority, getting 23% of the vote. Getting 64% of the vote, and hate my job up to 13% of the vote.
I'm amazed that only like 1 in 8 hate their job. That's uplifting to me. I'm like, wow. Because I thought it was higher than that. Based on how miserable everybody is, now I'm going to have to start questioning, how's your home life? If 87% of you are or better at work, well then I guess obviously it's your home life. Because trust me, you are miserable. So if it ain't coming from work, all right. I hate to put you on the couch here, but
David, our audience takes sports very seriously. There's only one fan base that's happy right now with their team because they've, we don't have a lot of Chiefs fans. So you're dealing with a lot of sports angst of fan bases. Dolphins, Bills.
A lot of Michiganders, though. A lot of people in Southwest Florida. They're like, well, I'm fine.
But there's more Buckeyes and there's more Gators.
That's true. No, that's true.
And there's Cleveland Browns fans everywhere.
Tell you what, though, the Buckeyes just spent $5 million buying players this offseason. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's completely legal. I love the fact we actually know how much they've spent. That's great. Think about how much we've advanced. Before, it had to be cash, brown paper bag, had to siphon it through the churches and agents who are not really agents, but they're hangers on. Now we can just flat out, we can negotiate. How much do you need? 500,000. Done. Can you be here by Thursday?
That's what we figure. We need, $4 or $5 million a year. We could build a hell of a basketball team in Southwest Florida.
Well, the money's there. It's not far away. You've got to give FGCU directions to Naples. You get on I-75, you go south. By the way, if anybody's in the athletic department listening, you go south. Okay. I would go all the way to 101 first and then start slowly working your way north. But I would go south. Go to 101, make a right. Okay. So we've been talking a lot of NFL today, contracts and dead money and all that. All right, Mark, you're Jera. Dak's entering the final year of his contract. You know what his cap hit is for the upcoming season?
Big, isn't it?
$59.45 million. He cannot be tagged next year. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of 2024. He also has a no trade clause. If Dak leaves Dallas after this coming season, he will cost the Cowboys a $36.4 million dead cap hit in 2025.
I don't know if my math's right, but that's about $94 million between this year and next, David.
It's actually 95.9.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't be tagged, has a no trade clause. He'll cost the Cowboys $96 million basically against the cap the next 2 years. And he may only play one of those 2 years. So it begs the question. You willing to do what the Vikings are doing here? Roll the dice, see whether or not you're going to keep Dak long term, or are you sitting down right now going, yeah, come on, we got to work out a new 5-year deal. We got to lower your cap charge by like 20-something million this year. You know, we'll give you a bunch of money up front. You tell me, because this now makes the Trey Lance trade make a lot more sense. That they wanted to bring in somebody on the cheap, what, a 4th rounder, 5th rounder? They gave up for him. Want to bring him in, take a look at him for nearly 2 years because they may have to have a cheap quarterback option in 2025 because Dak may be elsewhere and Dak may be on the books for about, what is it? Oh, $36.4 million. So they may need a starting quarterback making about 3 because the guy who's somewhere else is on their cap for 36. So you tell me. Dak has all the leverage. No trade clause. You can't tag him. The whole deal. You tell me.
I couldn't pay him what he's going to ask to get paid, but at the same time, you are handcuffing your franchise if you don't re-sign him and work it down. I'm not a Dak guy. I would be very reluctant to sign him. But David, in NFL circles, I don't know how you can get away with not re-signing him with how the cap's being affected by the decisions you've already made.
So are you going to be the Vikings or, and admittedly, you're not a Dak guy. And you know, Mark, I think the Cowboys are Dak guys.
Right.
But let's just say, I mean, let's be honest. Everybody's job's on the line in 2024 in Dallas. Everybody's. The head coaches and the quarterbacks, right? Or are you deciding now that actually the quarterback's job's not on the line in 2024, that I'm going to sign him to this 5-year extension with enough guaranteed money that he's our quarterback for at least 3 more years. I mean, see, that's interesting.
I would lean that way because I don't know how with a $58 million hit this year and a $38 million hit next year, how you can put the right team around him in the next couple of years when you've got a team that's good enough to do something in the postseason. I don't know if they're good enough to win the Super Bowl, but come on, they've won 12 games 3 years in a row. This is a good football team.
Right. It's just not a great football team. Now, you could argue the quarterback's one of the reasons why.
I do.
He is.
Okay.
I don't even.
So, but Trent, what do you do?
I would not pay Dak that much money.
Okay. So you're going to play Kirk Cousins if you're the Cowboys with Dak.
Yes, because status quo is not good enough.
Okay. Now, just remember, we talked about Cousins' deal. If Cousins goes elsewhere, he's still like $35 million on the Vikings cap in 2024. I mean, Dak and Cousins are the same guy a year apart.
Dak's just taking a little bit more hit on the cap than Cousins is.
Right. So, a couple of very interesting situations with quarterbacks and contracts out there. Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District. and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it. I like Tracy Walker. He just kind of, with Branch coming up, Kirby Joseph playing more, you got Gardner Johnson at the end back healthy. It just kind of just fell out of the mix. But I like him. He's one of the few guys that Quinn and Patricia actually got right. He's been here 6 years.
Not crunchy, but I just went and got some more. So
Add to the smart move.
So finish the non-crunchy, now crunchy.
You just do plain Cheerios?
No, I think we have honey
nut. Those are
I
good.
think
my favorite cereal right there. Did something to my foot. My foot hurts. Like I'm limping when I walk. I don't know what I did.
Go after a foul ball.
No.
So, quick funny story for you guys. So, when I went to this hockey game, so last year when I was going through chemo and everything, I was a building substitute teacher at my mom's building, which was so much fun. I mean, I was just like, I was there every day as just filling in for whoever was gone. So I got to know all the kids very well, and it was awesome. Then I go to this hockey game. And it's $2 beer night, so I'm double fisting huge Miller Lights, and I see one of the second grade girl, Mr. Bailey, and she's with her parents, and she's trying to tell her parents about me, and I'm holding two giant Miller Lights.
Attaboy.
I'm just like, hey, how you doing?
Yep. Looking at mom going, listen, when you're done with the current guy, I'll be sitting here. I'm next, just so you know. You need a boy toy before I settle down with that girl from Appleton. You let me know.
He is relentless.
Nobody will be happier in the world than David if that ends up coming to fruition.
Oh.
I'll just laugh if when you meet this, I don't know, friend of whomever next month, if you two actually get along and just go out once together. I'll just find that hysterical.
Everblades game on Wednesday is a nice date.
It is.
Next Wednesday or any Wednesday?
Any Wednesday.
'Cause it's $2 beers.
$2 beers.
They play every Wednesday?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, I think they play tonight and they don't play next week on Wednesday.
Does Pat have season tickets? Is that why
Yes.
he's always there? It's fun.
Hey, he gets them from us.
Does he really?
Yeah. It's just compensation to come on the show as often as he does.
I was getting a lot of crap when I went to the Everblades game going, oh, you used the tickets. You got Pat's tickets that you guys paid for. Okay.
That's hilarious. Where are the seats?
They are great seats. They're
they're
right over the entrance to a section. So you literally have the light to put your beer, like you've got a beer rail in front of you.
Money.
And
Also,
they're right at the goal that
the Blades shoot at twice.
Yeah,
Would you call it the face-off dot? Are they even with the face-off dot?
maybe even a little below the dot, between the dot and the goal line, I'd say.
So
it almost depends on if you're seat 1 or seat 4, but yeah.
Right. So think about that, Trent. It's about 8th row, as Mark mentioned. You got a beer rail. You even got the glass in front of you, little plexiglass. Okay. And you're that low. You can see everything.
Gotcha.
You're also 6 seconds from being able to be on the concourse.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all in about 15 minutes time, and some more winners. We went 3-0 yesterday. 3-0.
The trick is going to be tonight when we have our pick of the litter for our formula. So it's
we're doing the whole thing. No,
we're
doing the whole thing.
Okay.
Well, we have 5 games that fit the formula, right? We're just going to play all 5.
I hate to break it to you. I've already played all 5.
There you go. So we'll let you know our 5 picks coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. All right. I'm glad we got 2 old guys and a young guy here. So you're running the NBA. Which would you rather have? Second lowest rated All-Star game ever. Only better than last year's. Apparently by 20%. But, ratings are not good. They're not watching your product. They watch a little bit of the 3-point shooting thing. I thought that was great. Sabrina and Steph. Got to figure Caitlin Clark will be in it one day. I mean, tell me you're not going to watch. But the game's so bad that might as well cancel it. However, let's talk X. Let's talk Twitter, Twix, whatever you want to call it. Over 2.3 billion views. 60% increase from last year. 2.7 million posts about NBA All-Star Weekend in 3 days. Up 33%. So, television? Not that interested. Social media? You're the commissioner. Which would you rather have?
Social media.
Why?
Because I think more than ever, it's important to attract that audience. Put it this way.
Which is you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, probably 90% of those tweets that the number you gave was related to the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, the Sabrina versus Steph.
All right, but how about I'm just being out there. Let's say out of all those posts, let's say that 75% of them, 3 or 4 posts were about those things, which I think would all be positive posts by and large.
Yes.
Although there was, controversy slightly in the dunk contest. Any tweet that was about the game was a negative tweet.
Every single one.
So I don't know if those numbers, when you a positive tweet versus a positive post versus a negative post on X, I don't know how that factors in. I don't know how they're monetizing those.
Well, that's the age-old question. I mean, how do you monetize social media? Those that have been able to do it, congratulations. Most of the rest of us have not. And then again, do you hold to the theory of there's no such thing as bad publicity? So if you're the NBA, Saturday's tweets were largely really good. Sunday's tweets sucked. But they were tweeting about you. So to review, TV ratings, second worst ever. 2.3 billion views of what you did over 3 days in Indianapolis. 3 million posts.
They have got to find a way to make the players care more about the game. And I don't
They
know.
never will.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know
Won't
if
happen.
you make it world versus USA.
Won't happen.
or-
They've done that.
Everything except for paying them the kind of money they're paying them for the in-season tournament.
I don't think that'll mean a hill of beans to them. I really don't. They're making unbelievable money. I mean, honestly, Damian Lillard's making 60. Giannis is making 60. How much money do you have to pay him to get interested? I mean, seriously, 500,000 to 600 grand is 1% of their yearly salary. You can't pay them enough money. Yeah, the Halliburtons and Jalen Brunson's only making $25 million, but I just the NBA salary is obscene. Good for them, but if you're Adam Silver, you can't pay him enough money to care. They're already making too much.
It would be fun if it was $1 million for each player on the winning team and the loser got nothing. They never agree to that. That, to me, I might have a little interest in watching. If all of a sudden the winning team got paid and the losing team didn't, would pride show up? I don't know, David.
Or at least a little more. Because let me tell you guys this. So even 10 years ago, when it was still becoming a joke, but it was not to this level, they just scored 400 points in the game?
397, yeah.
10 years ago, I mean, they were still doing the dunk show and all that and the fast breaks and the minimal defense, but I mean, heck, they were still attempting 15 free throws in a game. I mean, you would still get some respectable defense. And I think Anthony Edwards hit the nail on the head when he said, guys, this is a break. This is a break for us. No one's going to compete. It's a break. It's a party. They have parties, festivities all weekend. And by the time Sunday night rolls around, there's zero fight in anybody.
Mark, I think your idea is the only chance to make it competitive, where literally it's you guys get paid, you guys get nothing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, but I think you'd literally have to make it, how many guys on a team? 12, 15? How many do they elect on each side? It'd have to be $1 million a guy.
That's exactly the number I was thinking. $1 million to win, nothing to lose, and see if some pride could come in. But I don't think the union would ever agree to that, David.
Well, here's the alternative. If I'm Adam Silver, I'd look at the union and go, well, then it's going away.
There you go.
Then it's going away. And I will say this, being an all-star means a lot to the NBA player. They are very bothered when they don't make a team and they think they should. Very. Remember, the league is into this sort of thing. The league's obsessed with who's going to win the MVP. The players are obsessed with whether or not they're going to be an all-star or not, or they're going to be on an all-NBA team or not. Obsessed with it. So if you threaten taking the game away, but back to the original premise, because let's just say it makes the game better, but I still don't know how many people are going to watch. I mean, it's an exhibition. We don't care about exhibitions. Okay. I mean, do we care whether or not LeBron plays for free or makes $1 million? I mean, do we really?
No, but if the game were competitive, we would. To see we still watch the baseball all-star game. It's competitive. It looks as if I don't know if they do, David, but when I watch it, it gives the appearance that they care. There's not another all-star game where I get an appearance that the players playing in the game give a damn about playing in the game.
So what concerns you more, though, at the end of the day? Like, whether TNT's got ratings or whether you're getting 3 billion views on social media in 3 days.
You care about the social media views.
Well, I'm 58 years old. I don't give a damn. But the NBA is not exactly coming after me. They're coming after Trent.
Hard.
And from that standpoint, they had a pretty successful weekend, even though the game itself was a disaster. But the entertainment of Saturday was phenomenal.
Of course, the funny thing is I'm the one that can afford the season tickets and you can't.
Right.
Okay.
That's a good
But
point.
it's true. But they're going after Trent, yet I'm the one that buying the suites. Of course, I'm not because I've got $19 to my name, but you know what I mean.
The fan of tomorrow, keeping them engaged. And that's what they want. They're trying to get as many fans away from the other sports as possible. And basketball's always done well with the younger demo. Always.
So if you're Adam Silver, I just gave you the evidence. Successful weekend or not? Ratings, second lowest ever. The game sucked. The other stuff was really good. Okay. Social media.
Now, I've got one good spin from the weekend, but I've got to fix the game. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What's on tap? Today was a day when. That's all next right here. Thanks for listening.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I can't believe this. Do you know how many fouls were called in the NBA All-Star game?
2.
3.
Okay.
2 on the West, 1 on the East. Kawhi, Jokic, and Trae Young got called for fouls in the game. 12 guys on a team, by the way. So what do you say? 13 million in the player pool? Winning team, all 12 guys get $1 million. Losing team, you divvy up $1 million. So you make about 83,000 for your weekend.
Could you ever even consider doing the old MLB where it's winner gets home court?
No.
I don't think so either. I find I find it interesting though. Because here's the interesting wrinkle to that is whoever is the coach would really care then. Because it's the coach of the 1 seed and they're coaching for potential home court in the finals if they get there, and therefore they'll be playing their best players who want to compete.
It didn't work in baseball. The fans didn't like it.
I don't think it should happen. I'm just
JJ Redick had a massive takedown at Doc Rivers there.
Oh my God.
Yes, he did. Hell, so much so Doc Rivers' kid
right
had
had to come defend his dad.
Did you see his full response?
The kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
It was. It was.
I mean, he was like, and he and Doc apparently don't have a great relationship. I mean, it's not like they're not buddy. And Doc wasn't. I mean, Austin's on the record saying Doc wasn't around a whole lot when he was a kid because he was in the league. But he did speak pretty objectively. He was just like, "Look, dude, your best years were in L.A. He was your coach."
Yeah, but his point was that he's a blame everybody else guy. I mean, he can, having been there 4 or 5 years, he knows whether or not they were getting blamed or he took any of the heat.
Yeah. I think his argument was well founded. I just thought Austin Rivers had a really good response to it.
They're saying the Masters extended a special invite to Joaquin Niemann of LIV because he's in, except for the World Golf Rankings, he's in everybody else who's doing some sort of ranking system. He's in the top 30 in every other ranking system except the OWGR. I don't know if that's true, but I'm seeing something on it on Twix.
Action Network just tweeted this out. Arkansas and A&M combined for 32 points in the final 248 of the game last night, taking the game
over.
Did Arkansas beat them?
Yes.
I almost took it, and I didn't. Almost took money line. They had 7 transfers this year, Arkansas.
Yeah. Every school that accepted 7 or more transfers, none of them would get an NCAA bid today.
I saw that. That is crazy.
Because St. John's is one of those schools also.
We're not very quick laterally, so.
Chargers going to cut Mike Williams.
Move to obtain and maintain appointment from
Chiefs.
this game for me is the fact that we had a couple of players that just got out-scrapped, that just didn't move to obtain and maintain position.
All right, let's finish strong. Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's money time! That's right. It's the part of the show.
Contestant on the Wheel of Fortune, come on down. What the hell was that?
Listen, I don't want to put up with Sajak is going out grumpy. Pat, lighten up. You had a hell of a gig, like nearly 40 years. You're going on vacation. What do you need? You work one day. Why are you so grumpy? You tape all the shows in one day. Come on.
He apparently answered our poll question by saying he hated his job, David.
Is he going out on his own terms, or are they moving on?
It's kind of like the way Jim Nance is no longer doing March Madness, I think. Somewhere in between Nance no longer doing Madness and Al no longer with NBC. I think it's somewhere in between.
What are you trying to say, David?
Just saying that, not every decision you get to make. That's all. But I believe Pat made this decision. It's Seacrest, right?
He's getting wheel?
Didn't they already announce it? I think it's Seacrest. And isn't his last show like April? Sajak?
I didn't know any of this was going on, but I find it very fascinating all of a sudden.
Maybe I don't know, too much gossip. Maybe I got my names confused.
No. He takes over. Wheel of
Yeah, see, isn't it April? Isn't Sajak's last show like April? I mean, that's not that far away, man. I mean, 50 days from today's the Masters.
How long has Sajak been doing wheels?
September is what I've got here.
Oh, okay. All right. But just so you know, 50 days today, the Masters. You want to count
How many
down?
jobs does Seacrest need?
I know. Well, he gave up the talk show. Is he still doing the radio show?
I think so.
That's unbelievable. Why in the world?
Why wouldn't he? You're doing American Top 40.
Well, no, that's different. But he does. He did.
No, I know, but he syndicates a daily radio show. Yes,
I know. Why? Don't need the money. First off, forget the radio show. You were doing 1 hour a day with Kelly there. You were making like $10 million. It was an hour. You're done by 10.
Well, he must have answered our poll question and said he loves his job. Top priority.
He's a workaholic.
Yes, he is.
I respect the heck out of him, actually. But yeah, now he's going to do Wheel. Once again, a whole new demo. That's like going from Miller and Moulton to Trent, baby. That's like the NBA.
The old ladies will still like him, though. See, he'll be able to keep that demo.
Oh, no doubt.
This is a home run hire for Wheel.
Yes.
I mean, that's that. Look at my grandson there. Doesn't he look good? Okay, still waiting for him to give me grandkids, though. But boy, does he look good. That's what they'll be thinking.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I really don't have much today.
Oh, sure. Now you tell me.
1887, Oregon, the first state to recognize Labor Day. Way to go, Oregon. Any state that wanted a 4-day work week, you know I was in favor of, David.
Think they were happy about it? You know, what'd they think about Labor Day? Was it a priority? Or did they hate it?
NASCAR was incorporated today in 1948. Malcolm X was assassinated today in 1965.
Ah, look at you finally throwing in some bad news.
Nixon becomes the first U.S. president to visit China today in 1972.
It actually was a really big deal. I mean, he did a lot of really good things. It just ended really badly.
The one bad thing overshadows all of the good.
Well, yeah, to me, it's kind of like Bud Selig. What the hell are you doing putting him in the Hall of Fame? No offense. Steroids and no World Series? He did a lot of great things, but you got to be kidding me.
Eric Heiden won his 4th of 5th golds at the 80 games today. Christy Yamaguchi wins gold in 92 today. And in 2016, Denny Hamlin wins Daytona in the closest rates ever, beating Martin Truex. Bob Ryan, 78. Kelsey Grammer, 69. Alan Trammell, 66. And Jennifer Love Hewitt's 45. What the hell did I miss, David?
Well, first off, Bob Ryan, man, his tweets Sunday eviscerating the All-Star game, the players, and everybody associated with the league. It's just Clint Eastwood read them and went, dude, have a Snickers. Well, a couple things. You mentioned, who was it? Yamaguchi won the gold today. You know, Dick Button won his second gold today in 52. Dolly Parton, 9-5, went number 1 today in 81.
Funny movie.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
is.
And, you know, as we like to say, you know, the song,
snappy.
Snappy. Right.
You're humming it in the car right now. You know it.
You will be. You will be. Once we make our picks and you write down your money makers for the night, the rest of today, you know what you're going to be doing? Working 9 to 5. Way to make a living. Yeah, you know it.
Barely. No, I'm not. I'm stopping right now. I may download it, listen to it later. Go all Dolly all the time. Little Jolene followed by 9 to 5. Call it a day.
Little Jolene. I love Jolene.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I have got the class for you, David. Florida's Fish and Wildlife Commission has found a way for you to learn everything you need to know about a Burmese python in 60 minutes. That's right. The third Thursday of the month, FWC offers a 1-hour virtual crash course called Python Patrol that's open to the public. You can learn everything you need to know if you want to go out and bag your first python. Are you in, David?
No. Although I got to admit, those things don't move very fast. I mean, you could sit there for an hour, and, they can just kind of hang out, watch Wheel of Fortune with you.
Teaches you how to properly pin a python.
No,
and all the basic tools that a python hunter should have.
No, you don't pin a python. You
From gloves to a snake hook.
Just
available on Amazon for $24.99.
Snake hook. Better be a big ass hook. I'm thinking like a backhoe.
For the bad, we go to Pine Island, where, well, unfortunately, a elderly woman from Canada was getting a haircut. And when she left the salon, she hit the gas instead of the brakes and fired the car right into a building.
Fire the cannons!
Building had a lot of damage. She's going to be okay. The car, on the other hand, also in rough shape. And finally, the ugly, we go to Collier County, where, David, you called it. You say it all the time. Don't get involved in road rage.
No.
Because John Freeman apparently had a issue with the Silverado. The Silverado cut him off. There was an exchange when the owner of the Silverado pulled out his handgun. Police were called and Raymond Joseph Abreu Jr. was arrested. He was the one. He did have a concealed permit, but he said he was a police officer. That turned out not to be true.
Missed it by that much.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 21st, 2024.
Now, first off, NHL, 5 games tonight. None of the Florida teams are in action. 7:30 TNT, Flyers, Blackhawks. 10 o'clock TNT, Bruins, Oilers. Could be.
That's a good game.
Could be a Stanley Cup final preview.
Ooh, look at you.
It won't be. I'm just saying could be. The Flyers, they're trying to hold off some teams for the playoff spot. Okay. Do we just stick with our theory, with our system, no matter what?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have 4 games that fit it perfectly. Miami's a 6.5-point dog at home to Duke.
We've got the Canes.
Penn State, 7.5-point dog at home to Illinois.
We've got the Nittany Lions.
George Mason, only a 2.5-point home dog to Dayton.
We have the Patriots.
LSU.
I had to double check that one there.
Okay.
Took just a second. That's my bad, David.
No problem. LSU's a 6.5-point home dog to John Cal and the Wildcats.
We've got the Tigers. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Ed Orgeron. Now, New Mexico is unranked and they're home. Colorado State is ranked and they're on the road. The problem is New Mexico's a 7.5-point home favorite. So that does not technically, even though it's ranked team on the road, unranked at home, but the home team's a 7.5-point favorite. Are we going to take New Mexico at home in the pit and lay 7.5?
We've got the Lobos. You're damn right we're taking New Mexico.
Okay. Now, how much are we feeling it? And we are South Florida Bulls homers, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Now, we have been tracking for a while the letdown games. Team wins a big game, they don't win and or cover the very next game. Take a look at North Carolina after beating Duke. I mean, we can go through this. UConn after beating Marquette over the weekend. What happened to them last night? I mean, honestly, there's dozens of examples. Oh, the big game. You know, they get beat. South Florida just came off their biggest win in at least a decade. They're in first place in the league. They're going on the road in the league at Texas San Antonio, who's won 8 games. South Florida's laying 5.5.
I'm fearful. I like it, but I'm fearful because they played so poorly the last 10 minutes that there were a ton of coaching lessons out there for them in that game. They did not finish. They tried to choke like a hairy dog in that game.
Just so you know, it opened at 6.5. The money's come in on the Roadrunners. Are we taking the Roadrunners?
I like the Bulls. I'm with Mark. I think the quote-unquote letdown spot kind of came in the second half against FAU, and they got out with a win.
All right. So I'm out then. Now, you two want to make the play.
No. I would, if I were to bet it, I would bet UTSA.
Okay, so we're out on that one.
We're out.
But upset alert for the Bulls tonight.
Got to pay attention.
Because they got a home game on the weekend, I think, against SMU, a good team. So this is the letdown. This is the trap game, if you will. This is the spot for South Florida. And they need to win it, because then if they win over the weekend, they got a chance to get ranked. They've never been ranked. Ever.
I want to see them win out, lose their conference championship game, still be ranked, and then they won't get a bid.
Oh, yeah, that happens to somebody every year. So we're going Miami, Penn State, George Mason, LSU, and New Mexico.
By the way, Miami and George Mason, we're doing the Larinaga special. When does Bowling Green play? Do they play tonight? We got to go 3 for 3 on Larinaga.
The only other team I'm paying attention to, I'm just looking to see if poor Mississippi Valley State, 0-26. Okay, are they playing?
I did not see them in action when I went through it, and I went through it pretty quickly, but I did not see.
No.
Oh, no. The middle. Oh, yeah, Mississippi Valley. No, they're not. To me, I don't see them playing.
No, okay. So that's the only one to pay attention to.
Gators taking on Bama. Do you guys think the Gators cover 9.5? Because I love the
Gators. Oh,
Gators.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Love the Gators tonight.
Let's go.
Love the Gators tonight.
They're playing well. They're turning the corner. Are they 24th in the nation right now?
They are in the AP poll. And not only that, they're, solidly in the tournament. And they're not going to lose any ground if they lose at Alabama. That's 7 o'clock on the Deuce, by the way, if you're interested.
Probably the best game of the night.
I'd agree with that.
So there's college basketball action for tonight. A few places to make some money on your teams. We'll find out if we made some money tomorrow. Daniel Wallach to join the show to talk sports gaming in the state of Florida. Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury,